Cretaceous, from Tyrannosaurus Rex to WarGreymon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Traveling Through the Cretaceous Period and Being Reborn as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Late Cretaceous, Maastrichtian Period. North America, Laramidia Subcontinent. A gurgling river runs through the larch forest on the North American prairie, winding and twisting like a flowing scroll, capturing the scene of this last dinosaur kingdom. There is a secret earthen nest dug deep on the river bank, with soft plants at the bottom, and 5 huge oblong dinosaur eggs quietly buried in it. The long diameter of each dinosaur egg exceeds 40 centimeters, and the surface of the shell is extremely smooth, with ivory-like texture and luster. After a long incubation period, they are finally about to usher in the official hatching day. Crack crack. Suddenly, the largest dinosaur egg shook slightly, and as the cracks on the surface became larger and larger, the eggshell peeled off. A furry and petite dinosaur poked its head out, staring at the new world where it was born with wide eyes. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Chu Xu, who had just woken up, looked at the unfamiliar environment around him blankly, and couldn't help asking himself 3 philosophical questions. Boom. Boom. Suddenly, the ground beneath him shook violently, and with a deafening sound of footsteps, a beast foot-like Optimus Prime appeared in Chu Xu's field of vision. When Chu Xu raised his head somewhat stiffly, he saw a huge monster that blocked his entire field of vision. A huge and ferocious lizard head, a mouth full of staggered banana-shaped sharp teeth, a majestic and broad savage body, a muscled columnar hind limb, and black-brown scales arranged throughout the body that were tightly bitten, rough and thick. Finally, a thick tail was raised high, and the whole thing was like a towering mountain. The oppressive feeling that came over him almost made Chu Xu's brain crash. What kind of creature is this? Exclamation mark. At this moment, a tide of information poured into Chu Xu's blank brain, making his stopped brain cells work again. The information came and went quickly. In just a few seconds, Chu Xu completely digested it and understood his current situation. I traveled through time, and became a newly hatched Tyrannosaurus Rex. Chu Xu was stunned. In his previous life, as a paleontologist, he followed his team to North America and participated in a dinosaur fossil excavation. After many days of excavation, their team successfully excavated an extremely rare dinosaur egg fossil containing an embryo. The preservation state was intact and the embryo was mature. It is speculated that this is likely to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex embryo fossil. Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is the most prestigious king of carnivorous dinosaurs, one of the largest land carnivores in the history of the Blue Planet, and also Chu Xu's favorite dinosaur in his previous life. Just when Chu Xu wanted to further study the dinosaur egg fossil, his eyes suddenly turned black and he fainted. When he woke up, he was inexplicably reborn through time and space, and became a living Tyrannosaurus Rex cub. It's really fate. So, the time point where I am now is the Maastrichtian period of the late Cretaceous, which is about 68 million to 65 million years ago. This is the Laramidia subcontinent, which is the Rocky Mountains in western North America. Isn't this where we found dinosaur fossils? Chu Xu quickly determined his current time point and geographical location. As for the terrifying giant beast in front of him, it was an adult female Tyrannosaurus Rex, Chu Xu's mother. HMPH, the mother of dragons, exhaled turbid air from her nostrils, lowered her big head, and stared at Chu Xu with her pair of yellow-brown cold vertical pupils. According to Chu Xu's visual estimation, her body length must have reached 12 meters, and her head height was 6 meters, comparable to a 3-decker bus. As for Chu Xu, who had just hatched from a dinosaur egg, he looked like a half-grown turkey, about 40 centimeters long, with short limbs and dense hair all over his body. He looked naive and cute, which was very different from the majestic and domineering image of the dinosaur tyrant. However, Chu Xu also knew that as long as he had enough time, he would be able to become a giant beast like Longma in the future, and become a land predator at the top of the food chain in the late Cretaceous. At this moment, Chu Xu felt a flash in front of his eyes, and a strange information panel suddenly appeared in front of him. Name, Chu Xu. Age, 1 day. Race, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Male. Growth stage, juvenile. 4-dimensional attributes, strength 1, agility 1, constitution 1, spirit 2, evolution points 0, skills, none, achievements, None. Next evolution form, Agumon. Novice Task 1. Ensure eating and nutrient intake every day for 1 month, and increase your constitution by 1 every day. Novice Task 2. Exercise and move your limbs every day for 1 month, and increase your strength and agility by +1 every day. Novice Task 3. Go to bed on time every day and get enough rest for 1 month, and increase your spirit by +1 every day. Golden Finger. Chu Xu suddenly became energetic. Sure enough, the saying was right. Mother Earth will give every child who leaves home a beautiful blessing. The information panel was just like the data in the game, and Chu Xu quickly became familiar with it. He was currently in the most dangerous infancy. Any animal at this stage was very vulnerable. Facing threats from food, disease, foreign enemies and other factors, the survival rate was extremely low. At present, Chu Xu's most important task was to survive the most dangerous infancy and try to survive. Agumon. What surprised him was that he actually had a so-called evolutionary form. Wasn't it Agumon from Digimon? He didn't expect that he could evolve into Agumon, so wouldn't Tyrannosaurus, Mechanical Tyrannosaurus and even Battle Tyrannosaurus be able to evolve one by one? This was purely a dimensionality reduction attack. I'm so hungry. At this time, Chu Xu felt a pang of hunger in his stomach. He instinctively raised his neck, opened his mouth, and purred at Long Ma. Seeing this, Long Ma took a big step, turned around, and brought half of the remaining dinosaur corpse from not far away. This is a strange dragon, a small ornithopod omnivorous dinosaur. Although it is small, its body length is more than 3 meters, and its weight is at least 400 or 500 kilograms. However, the hunter it faces is an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex with a tonnage of more than 8 tons, and its combat power is completely not on the same level. It can be seen that the neck of the strange dragon was bitten off, the neck bone was broken, and the skin and flesh were left with dense and deep teeth marks. It is conceivable that it was in a miserable state when it was hunted. Long Ma opened her bloody mouth and bit the belly of the strange dragon, tearing off a small piece of bloody raw meat and feeding it to Chu Xu. Smells good. Perhaps influenced by the genes of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, Chu Xu also smelled the aroma of raw meat. After a little hesitation, he took a bite. Delicious. Crunchy, chicken flavor. You have eaten strange dragon meat, evolution point plus 0.1. The prompt sound that sounded in his ears made Chu Xu feel that the raw meat transmitted by the taste buds on his tongue was even more delicious. Chapter 2 Evolution Points, Edmontosaurus. Soon, Chu Xu learned that there are 2 main ways to obtain evolution points. One is eating, which is to obtain energy by taking in food, and the energy will automatically be converted into evolution points. The other is hunting, which is to obtain evolution points by hunting other creatures. The more difficult the hunting creatures are, the more valuable the evolution points are. As for the uses of evolution points, there are also 2. One is to convert them into attribute points or treatment points at a ratio of 1:1, which are used to enhance the 4-dimensional attributes of oneself, as well as to treat diseases and injuries. The other is to achieve evolution. It was not until Chu Xu's stomach was full that he just got 0.5 evolution points, and he had to rely on accumulation over time. You have completed the Novice Task 1, and you must eat and take in nutrients every day, and your physical fitness +1. Fortunately, there are still Novice tasks to get wool in the early stage. Chu Xu, who was full and satisfied, continued to start the training of Novice Task 2, and familiarized himself with this new body by the way. So, under the watchful eyes of the Mother of Dragons, Chu Xu took small steps and ran around. Chu Xu did not dare to run too far away from the Dragon Mother, otherwise, with his current small arms and legs, he would be dead if he met any predator. You have completed the Novice Task 2. Keep exercising every day and move your limbs. Strength and agility +1. Not long after, when Chu Xu felt that his physical strength was almost exhausted, the pleasant reminder sound rang again. As the attribute points increased, strands of warm currents emerged in Chu Xu's body, nourishing his body imperceptibly. Although it was not obvious, the gradual quantitative change will eventually usher in qualitative changes. Sleepy. Physical strength was exhausted, and the feeling of fatigue and sleepiness followed. Chu Xu returned to the dragon egg nest where he hatched and lay down, his eyelids drooping and fell asleep. No matter what kind of creature's cub, sleepiness is a normal physiological phenomenon, and its growth and development are mainly completed during sleep. You have completed the Novus Task 3. Go to bed on time and get enough rest. Spirit +1. After Chu Xu fell asleep, the system automatically switched to sleep mode, and the reminder sound passed silently. At the same time, a Tyrannosaurus Rex egg next to Chu Xu also made a subtle movement. The next morning, Chu Xu, who had just woken up, raised his short hands and stretched. Suddenly, he noticed that a Tyrannosaurus Rex cub, a circle smaller than himself, had appeared beside him. Oh, it's his sister. Don't ask why. You can judge the gender, it's just the eyesight and intuition of being a member of the same kind. I'll call you Xianyu from now on. Chu Xu thought for a moment, and recalled the waxing moon he saw before going to bed last night. His dragon sister should have been born at that time, so he gave her a name. After all, he is the sun, and it is reasonable for his sister to be the moon. The younger brother or sister born later can be the star. Xianyu was still sleeping, and Chu Xu didn't disturb her. He left the dragon egg nest and ran to the vegetation on the side to solve the 3 urgent problems. What's that smell? Before Chu Xu could defecate, his keen sense of smell could smell a pungent smell. Following the smell, he found a large pile of black feces with good color, aroma and taste not far away, which was piled up into a half-meter-high mound. It was obvious that this must be the fresh feces from the dragon mother's anus in the morning. No wonder the surrounding vegetation grew so lushly. It turned out that there was enough fertilizer. In comparison, Chu Xu was not as high as the pile of feces from the dragon mother, which was really a big blow to the dragon. So after solving the 3 urgent problems, Chu Xu quickly started today's exercise. 10 minutes later, Chu Xu, exhausted, returned to the dragon egg nest and collapsed on the soft and thick vegetation mat. However, although he was very tired, he also made a little progress today, and his strength and agility increased by 1 point again. Although the changes were not obvious, Chu Xu could clearly know that he was growing stronger step by step. After finishing the exercise, Chu Xu opened his mouth wide with an empty stomach to beg for food. Chu Xu's cry woke up the dragon sister Xianyu next to him, so she also joined the begging and called out. Finally, after a series of calls, Long Ma came. However, Long Ma's mouth was empty and she didn't bring any food. Judging from the fresh blood on the edge of her big mouth, she must have had a full meal just now. It is estimated that the body of the strange dragon, which was not much left, went into Long Ma's stomach. Chu Xu suddenly realized that it was no wonder that he didn't see Long Ma when he was exercising just now. It turned out that she was secretly eating alone behind him. Now he was going to be hungry. Duang. Duang. However, at this moment, another heavy footsteps came through the ground clearly. Chu Xu looked in the direction of the sound, and soon saw an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex that was a circle smaller than Long Ma walking towards him. This was a male adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, and in his mouth, he was dragging a dinosaur that was even bigger than the strange dragon. The bloody mouth and the exposed giant fangs gave Chu Xu an extremely shocking visual impact. Chu Xu also felt a sense of blood affinity for this male adult Tyrannosaurus Rex. If he guessed correctly, this was his dragon father. Sure enough, when she saw the dragon coming, the dragon mother quickly stepped forward to greet him and let out a low roar. The dragon father placed the prey he had hunted on the ground and handed it to the dragon mother to deal with, then strode towards the dragon egg nest where Chu Xu was. When he arrived in front of the dragon egg nest, the dragon father sniffed the smell of Chu Xu and the smell of the dragon sister, Xianyu, as if he remembered their smells. At this time, the dragon mother also brought the prey hunted by the dragon father. It's an Edmontosaurus. Chu Xu saw the iconic duck bill of this dinosaur and judged its species. Edmontosaurus, a large herbivorous dinosaur of the hadrosaur family of the iguanodon, is huge in size. When it grows up, its length from head to tail can reach 9 meters, and its weight reaches 4 tons. It is a heavyweight player of the same level as the African elephant of later generations. However, its death was the same as that of the strange dragon before, with its neck bitten off in one bite, very clean and neat, without any drag. Dragon Date had already eaten his fill before returning, so such a big meat mountain of Edmontosaurus was left to Dragon Mom, Chu Xu, and Xianyu. Such a half-grown Edmontosaurus is enough for their family to eat for several days. Dragon Mom, who was still not full, enjoyed the meat of Edmontosaurus first, and then fed Chu Xu and Xianyu one by one. Chu Xu also wanted to do it himself, but the strength of the newly born Tyrannosaurus Rex cub was not enough to tear the flesh, so he could only wait for Dragon Mom to feed him obediently. Ling. You have eaten Edmontosaurus meat, evolution point plus 0.2. Finally, I tasted the meat of Edmontosaurus, which tasted better than the meat of strange dragon, and it also brought Chu Xu more evolution points. After a meal, Chu Xu gained another evolution point, and currently has accumulated 1.5 evolution points. Let's set a small goal first, and earn 10 evolution points. Chu Xu thought to himself. Chapter 3, Golden Achievement, the Talent of an Overlord. Skill Training. After returning to visit the mother and the child, the father turned around and left. Tyrannosaurus Rex is a typical solitary animal, especially the adult male Tyrannosaurus Rex. Only during the breeding season will the male Tyrannosaurus Rex live with the female Tyrannosaurus Rex for a short period of time. The rest of the time, they will wander around the periphery of the overlapping territory with the female Tyrannosaurus Rex, and maintain a close relationship with their spouse and children. Male Tyrannosaurus Rex will not take the responsibility of raising and caring for the cubs, leaving the female Tyrannosaurus Rex alone to be responsible for hatching eggs, hunting, raising young and other tasks. Therefore, female Tyrannosaurus Rex is often larger in size and more powerful in combat than male Tyrannosaurus Rex, especially in the raising period. Female Tyrannosaurus Rex is afraid of dragons. However, there are exceptions to everything. Chu Xu's father is a rare good husband and father. Occasionally, when he captures large prey that he can't finish eating, he will bring it back to share with their family. Time flies, and a month has passed in the blink of an eye. In just 1 month, although Chu Xu's life was very monotonous, he stayed in one place every day, and except for eating, sleeping and daily exercise, he also experienced a lot of things. After the birth of his sister, Xianyu, the third dinosaur egg was successfully hatched, and it was a male Tyrannosaurus Rex. Chu Xu named his dragon brother gnashing. However, the fourth and fifth dinosaur eggs were no longer active. It is very likely that they were contaminated by parasites or bacteria during the incubation process, or the temperature and humidity conditions of the incubation were not up to standard. Then the dinosaur egg embryo would stop developing, so it became a dead egg. This situation is very common in the wild. Generally speaking, the hatching rate of dinosaur eggs is less than 50%. It is very lucky that 3 of the 5 dinosaur eggs of the mother dragon can be successfully hatched. Of course, even if it can be successfully hatched, whether the Tyrannosaurus Rex cub can successfully survive the pitiful, weak and helpless infancy is another matter. In the end, the 2 unhatched dinosaur eggs entered the stomachs of Chu Xu, the sister, Xianyu, and the dragon brother gnashing. At night, everything was silent, and the sleeping dragon mother snorted with thunder. Chu Xu lay on the ground, opening the attribute panel as usual before going to bed to check today's harvest. Name, Chu Xu. Age, 1 month. Race, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Male. Growth stage, juvenile. 4-dimensional attributes, strength 33, agility 33, constitution 33, spirit 35, evolution points 21, skills, grasp, achievement, overlord's talent, primary, next evolution form, Agumon. As of today, Chu Xu has just turned 1 month old, and has successfully completed 3 novice tasks. The 4-dimensional attributes have all increased significantly. Through the accumulation of evolution points from daily eating, he has also gained a full 21 evolution points. Ling. You have successfully completed 3 novice tasks and obtained the golden achievement, Overlord's Talent, Primary. The King's Talent, Primary, Gold Achievement, Upgradable, can release one's own momentum to intimidate and scare the enemy, and even directly make opponents who are much weaker than oneself faint, which is a king's qualification. It is temporarily impossible to achieve fine self-control at the primary stage. Gold Achievement, King's Talent? Chu Xu was overjoyed. It was an extremely powerful ability to intimidate and scare the enemy with just one's own momentum. In addition, Chu Xu also mastered a new skill. Grab, 0/100, basic skill, swinging sharp claws to cause tearing physical damage to the enemy. Through repeated skill training, the proficiency of this skill can be improved. After the proficiency reaches the maximum value, it will transform into a more advanced skill. Grab, random grab, flame claw, dragon claw. Wow, can it be played like this? Chu Xu clicked on the relevant skill introduction. Random grab is a primary skill, which can launch 2 to 5 consecutive claw attacks in an instant. Flame Claw is an intermediate skill, using claws burning with fire to attack the opponent, causing tearing and burning damage. Dragon Claw is an advanced skill that combines speed and strength, and its power is even more amazing. Above the advanced skills, there are even more powerful skills. It's so terrifying. What puzzled Chu Xu was that after mastering these awesome skills, he could only deal with the dinosaurs of the Cretaceous period. It was really like using an anti-aircraft gun to kill a mosquito, a waste of talent. Or is it that the enemies you will encounter in the future will not only be these ordinary creatures? After thinking about this, Chu Xu couldn't help but feel a sense of crisis. Maybe the future direction of this world is far from as simple as he thought. So Chu Xu began to study hard without hesitation, swinging his forelimbs and waving his two tender little claws. Fortunately, his body size is not too big now. Although he inherited the shorthand gene of Tyrannosaurus Rex, the proportion with the whole body is not too unbalanced, so that he can reach the enemy in front of him with his hands and claws. You know, the shorthands of Tyrannosaurus Rex, which look very useless, have always been controversial. Even for an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, the total length of its forelimbs is only 80 centimeters, which is about the same as the length of a normal human arm. However, compared with the exaggerated body size of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, this length of forelimbs is ridiculously short, which is full of contrast. According to the proportion, the short hands of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex can't even touch its mouth, let alone do push-ups, hug each other, bend over to pick up things, and squat with its head in its hands. According to Chu Xu's previous research and current observations, the specific use of its short hands is mainly to maintain the balance of the body, fix the prey when eating to assist the big mouth to bite, and stabilize the body of the other party when doing things that are not suitable for young dragons. As for the main reason why Tyrannosaurus Rex evolved such short hands, it is actually the use it or lose it theory in the process of biological evolution. In the process of evolution, the head used to bite the prey, the hind limbs used for walking and running, and the tail used to maintain balance, etc. The body parts of the ancestors of Tyrannosaurus Rex have become increasingly developed due to frequent use. As for the rarely used forelimbs, they slowly began to degenerate, and finally formed this form. Horizontal ellipsis. Chu Xu regained his concentration and began to swing his arms and claws, practicing his skills repeatedly. However, after swinging at the air for a long time, he did not see any increase in his skill proficiency. Strange. Do I have to practice on a real object? Thinking of this, Chu Xu quietly stood up and went to a nearby bush to practice on a tree. With one claw, only a shallow white mark was left on the bark. But Chu Xu soon noticed that the skill proficiency increased from 0 to 1. Sure enough, I have to practice on a real object. Chu Xu immediately became full of fighting spirit, treating the tree in front of him as an imaginary enemy, and waving his claws to attack continuously. Once, twice, 3 times. After more than 10 minutes, until the proficiency increased by 5 points in total, it reached the upper limit of today's training, and his little claws were already worn and swollen, and even oozing blood from the flesh. It would take at least 20 days to practice to full proficiency. Use 1 evolution point for treatment. Chu Xu thought and immediately spent 1 evolution point to treat his claws so that he could continue training tomorrow. A cool feeling soon appeared in Chu Xu's palms. In just a few seconds, his claws were restored to their original state and the pain disappeared. Chapter 4, Family Warmth, Basic Skills. Leave 5 evolution points for backup, and convert the rest into attribute points. Next, Chu Xu thought for a moment and left 5 evolution points for emergency use, so that he could heal his injuries in time. The remaining 15 evolution points were converted into 15 attribute points at once, adding 3 points to his 4-dimensional attributes respectively, and the last 3 points were added to his physique again. After all, for Chu Xu, who is still in his infancy, physique affects all aspects of the body, including immunity, metabolism, endurance, recovery, etc. The stronger the physique, the more beneficial it is for his growth. Soon, the 4-dimensional attribute column of the information panel was refreshed again. 4-dimensional attributes: Strength 36, Agility 36, Constitution 39, Spirit 38. As the attribute points were strengthened, Chu Xu felt that his body had undergone obvious changes. A warm current flowed into his limbs and bones, spreading to every corner of his body, producing a feeling of hardiness. When the heat flow disappeared, Chu Xu found a puddle of water and looked at his current changes in the reflection in the puddle. Compared to the half-grown turkey he was when he was born a month ago, Chu Xu's body has expanded a lot, and his appearance has also changed greatly. His length from head to tail has reached 1 meter, and his head is more than half a meter high. His hind legs have become slender and strong, and even under the restraint of scales, his muscles are becoming more and more full. Fine hair grows vigorously, spreading from the top of his head along the spine to the thick round tail that is half the length of his body. When he grins, his fangs are exposed, and his yellow-brown vertical pupils are sharpened by daily training. He has already begun to have the mighty and domineering aura of a generation of dinosaur kings. In just 1 month, Chu Xu's body size has more than doubled, and this growth rate has completely broken common sense. According to his previous life's research, the infancy of Tyrannosaurus Rex is very long, nearly 14 years, and the growth rate from 0 to 14 years old is relatively slow, and the weight will not exceed 2 tons. Only after the age of 14, the Tyrannosaurus Rex will enter the subadult stage of rapid growth. Whether it is weight, body length, bone density, tooth thickness, etc., they will assure an explosive and rapid growth until they are around 18 to 22 years old and mature, becoming a real adult Tyrannosaurus Rex. Chu Xu only needs to compare his sister and brother, who are only 1 or 2 days older than him, to know that they are still the same as when they were just born, and have become little things in Chu Xu's eyes. The reason why Chu Xu can grow so wildly in a short period of time is naturally due to his unremitting self-discipline every day. The steady increase of the 4-dimensional attributes has brought continuous growth to his body. After appreciating the changes in his appearance and body shape with satisfaction, Chu Xu returned to the dragon egg nest. Unexpectedly, the dragon mother who was guarding the dragon egg nest had woken up. Because she didn't see Chu Xu, she hurriedly looked around. It was not until she saw Chu Xu was safe and sound that the dragon mother roared at him, as if asking him where he had run off to. After a month of living together, Chu Xu could understand the meaning of the roar from the dragon mother, so he responded and told her not to worry. When Chu Xu came back and lay down in the nest of dragon eggs, the dragon mother was relieved to lie down on her side again with her legs bent. At night, the sudden drop in temperature and the howling cold wind made the dragon sister and brother shiver with cold. The dragon mother was just awakened by their shouting, so she used a layer of fine fur under her abdomen to keep them warm. Now the dragon sister and brother fell into a sweet dream in the warm and safe embrace of the dragon mother. Although Chu Xu was no longer afraid of the slight wind and cold, he still got into her abdomen at the urging of the dragon mother, and snuggled with the dragon sister and brother to keep warm. Indeed, it was warm and intimate. Looking at the dragon sister and brother sleeping on their backs beside him, and the dragon mother guarding him, Chu Xu also felt a sense of warmth that belonged to the family. In just 1 month, he became familiar with the new life and felt the warmth of such a Tyrannosaurus family. There was the mother dragon who was busy hunting prey outside and raising and feeding the cubs at home. There were also the cute sister and brother dragons who accompanied him to play and fight. They grew up together without worries. Occasionally, the father dragon would go home and bring an extremely rich meal. He also often patrolled and guarded the periphery of the territory, driving away those stray predatory animals, and eliminating all risks that might endanger the safety of the mother dragon and Chu Xu. Dinosaurs are not the cold-blooded lizards that people in later generations think they are. They also have the concept of family affection. Parents know how to raise and protect the next generation and help their cubs thrive. This also made Chu Xu gradually develop a deep sense of identity and belong into his Tyrannosaurus family. The emotions of animals may not be as rich as those of humans, but they are purer than humans can achieve. They can express their deep affection for each other in various ways without words. After the training, Chu Xu felt tired and sleepy. In the arms of the dragon mother, he closed his eyes and soon fell into deep sleep. More than half a month later, an autumn rain washed away the heat and brought a light chill to the world. The greenery in the forest also quietly changed into a new golden outfit. Early in the morning, Chu Xu was awakened by a howling sound. It was clear that the dragon sister Xianyu and the dragon brother Liuxing were fighting again. "You bite me, I scratch you, and you roll around in the dragon egg nest, making a lot of noise." So Chu Xu, as the eldest brother, stood up, raised his forelimbs, put away his claws, and swung his dragon palm at lightning speed. Pa! Before Xianyu and Liuxing could react, Chu Xu hit them hard on the head. The force of this blow was not small, and Xianyu and Liuxing both cried out in pain. If you don't punish them for 3 days, they will tear the roof off the house. I have told you so many times not to yell so early in the morning and disturb my sleep. Chu Xu's head was high enough for him to look down at the two little dragons, Xianyu and Luxing. His domineering nature made them silent and dared not to act rashly. Unfortunately, his dragon sister and dragon brother only had the memory of fish. They were beaten by Chu Xu yesterday morning, but they forgot everything today. Dragon sister Xianyu had formed a certain conditioned reflex. After being beaten by Chu Xu, she stopped talking obediently and curled up like a kitten. Although dragon brother Luxing was full of resentment, he didn't dare to do anything to Chu Xu, so he could only bite the air with his teeth bared, and beat a rhythmic allegro for a while, trying to suffocate Chu Xu by eating the air around him. Could this guy be a corgi? Bang! Chu Xu was not polite at all. He rushed forward with overwhelming force, knocking Liuzing to the ground, and then pinned him down and beat him up. A few minutes later, Liuzing, who did not learn his lesson, was beaten black and blue by Chu Xu again. He was completely submissive and showed his white belly with fear on his face, indicating his surrender. Chu Xu, who had established his status in the family, nodded with satisfaction and let go of his dragon brother Liuzing. After teaching the undisciplined dragon sister and dragon brother a lesson, Chu Xu began his daily training. With the completion of today's training, a system prompt finally sounded. Grab, 100/100, proficiency is full, automatically upgraded to random grab, 0/1000, primary skill, instantly launch 2 to 5 consecutive claw attacks. Chapter 5 New Skills, Voss's Rhinoceros. Scratching. Chu Xu was overjoyed. After 20 days of hard training, he finally learned this elementary skill. Chu Xu. Chu Xu couldn't wait to try it out. He came to the bushes and locked onto a tree that had been scratched bare by him. He started to scratch. In just a moment, Chu Xu swung out 3 claw strikes in succession, tearing 3 more crisscrossing scratches on the trunk, and scattering bark fragments all over the ground. Not only did the attack speed increase greatly, but the power and lethality also increased a lot. Congratulations on successfully upgrading the basic skill to the elementary skill, reward attribute points 10, and obtain a new skill. Bite, 0/100, basic skill, open your mouth and use your teeth to cause physical damage to the enemy by tearing and biting. Bite, crushing, flame fang, dragon fang, collision, 0/100, basic skill, use your body to crash into the enemy to cause physical damage. Impact, slam, flare charge, ultimate impact, run, 0/100, basic skill, run by moving the hind legs. Run, accelerate, high-speed movement, instantaneous movement, 10 attribute points, plus 3 new basic skills, and each basic skill can be continuously upgraded. Chu Xu was in high spirits, and was even more impressed by the power of the golden finger. From now on, I will simply stop calling myself Tyrannosaurus Rex and call myself Long Aocean. However, this is also the final result that Chu Xu needs to take one step at a time and accumulate proficiency over time. For the 10 attribute points, Chu Xu still added points according to the principle of even distribution and focusing on physical fitness, adding 2 points each to strength, agility and spirit, and 4 points to physical fitness. Let's start working hard. Chu Xu continued today's training, sometimes biting the branches of trees and grinding his teeth, sometimes constantly hitting trees with his body, and sometimes running around near the dragon egg nest. After a long time, the proficiency of the 3 basic skills increased by 5 points each. If you continue to practice, you can upgrade it smoothly in 20 days. As for the skill of grabbing, which has been upgraded to primary skill, the maximum proficiency you can get in a day is also 5 points, and the upper limit of its proficiency is 1,000 points. This means that it will take at least half a year to practice to the maximum value, and there is still a long way to go. After half a day of training, Chu Xu was so hungry that he kept knocking on the wooden fish, but at this time the landlord's family had no surplus food, and the mother of dragons went out hunting, leaving only him and the sister and brother of dragons at home. There is no way, as the saying goes, the little brats will eat the old man out of money. As an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, the mother of dragons has an amazing appetite, and the appetite of Chu Xu, the sister and brother of dragons, the 3 Tyrannosaurus Rex cubs, is also increasing day by day as their bodies grow and develop. So it is really stressful for the mother of dragons to hunt alone. Unfortunately, With my current size and ability, I can't help them at all. Although Chu Xu wanted to share some of the hunting pressure with the mother of dragons, he was powerless. This is not the peaceful world of the previous life, but the Cretaceous period where the strong prey on the weak and dinosaurs run rampant. Any predatory dinosaur picked at random from the outside world is more terrifying than the jackals, tigers and leopards of later generations. Therefore, it is most important to survive in the early stage. The area around the dragon egg nest belongs to the core territory of the dragon mother. She will mark it with urine or scratches every once in a while. In addition, with the deterrence of the dragon father outside the territory, generally no blind animal dares to approach. Unknowingly, dusk fell, and the mountains between heaven and earth were like the sea, and the setting sun was like blood, which was magnificent. Swish! Just as Chu Xu was patiently waiting for the dragon mother to return from hunting, he suddenly heard a subtle rustling sound coming from the vegetation not far away. Chu Xu immediately became alert. The crescent moon and Lixing were both beside him, and that was not the sound they made. Could there be other animals? Chu Xu did not act rashly, but listened carefully in the direction where the sound came from. The Tyrannosaurus Rex's well-developed inner ear gave it a keen sense of hearing and a wide range of hearing, allowing it to hear low-frequency sound waves at long distances that humans cannot hear. The sound comes from underground. Chu Xu quickly and clearly caught the source of the strange sound, as if it was the sound of drilling a hole. As the sound became louder and louder, the unknown creature was getting closer and closer to the ground. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Soon, a fat, rat-like animal appeared. It was about the same size as a badger. Although it did not look big, its full mouth of fangs and sharp claws on its limbs showed its danger. This is MetalTyrannomon. Chu Xu recognized the animal that suddenly appeared at the first time. MetalTyrannomon, a mammal from the subclass of the late Cretaceous, is slightly related to later marsupials such as kangaroos and possums. In the Cretaceous period, dinosaurs undoubtedly occupied an absolute dominant position. Mammals have only just appeared and are often small in size. In the Cretaceous period, they were often at the bottom of the food chain and were preyed upon by dinosaurs. However, the WarGreymon in front of us is an exception. Although it is not big in size, it is an absolute terrible predator. Their menu includes carrion, plants, insects, etc., as well as small dinosaurs in their infancy. Its most terrifying weapon is its teeth. The shape of its canine teeth is very similar to that of hyenas in later generations. With its developed skull and jaw muscles, it can burst out with a bite force that can crush bones. I'm so unlucky. Staring at the WarGreymon not far away, Chu Xu's heartstrings tightened and he broke out in a cold sweat. I didn't expect to face a life and death crisis so soon. If I was bitten by the WarGreymon, my life would be in jeopardy. Squeak. At the same time, the WarGreymon had already smelled the scent of Chu Xu and crescent moon Lixing, and its round head immediately turned towards their location, and its eyes seemed to light up. There are actually 3 tender little dinosaurs here. There are no other adult dinosaurs guarding them. I am really lucky today. I can have a good meal now. Horizontal ellipsis. Chapter 6, Random Capture, First Battle Victory. On the other side, Xianyu and Lixing, who were still sleeping soundly, were completely unaware of the danger. Pa. Chu Xu immediately took action, patted Xianyu and Lixing's heads respectively, and called them up. Xianyu and Lixing, who were still a little sleepy, just opened their eyes and saw a big black rat approaching not far away. Its face was hideous and terrifying, and its teeth were bared. They were so scared that their first reaction was to turn around and run away. This is the instinctive fear of living things. Chu Xu did not choose to run away. At his current speed, he was probably far inferior to the rat-toothed beast. If he fled like this and left his back to the enemy, there would be only one outcome. Only by fighting it head-on would there be a glimmer of hope. Roar. Chu Xu lowered his body slightly, and a thunder-like roar rolled out from the depths of his throat, constantly threatening and warning the rat-toothed beast. Under the influence of the Overlord's talent, Chu Xu's body exuded an invisible pressure, which made the rat-toothed beast feel a little fearful. However, the hunger for food was stronger after all. The hungry worm opened its bloody mouth with exposed front teeth and rushed towards Chu Xu, aiming at his most vulnerable neck. At this time, the benefits of Chu Xu's daily exercise were reflected. When the worm approached, he kicked his hind legs and dodged to the left with his agile body. The worm, which did not have time to break, pounced on nothing. Shoo! Seizing the opportunity, Chu Xu's forelimb muscles bulged, and his claws whistled and tore through the air, grabbing the body of the woe's worm fiercely. Scratching. In a moment, Chu Xu swung out all 4 claws in succession, and the tearing sound like tearing silk sounded, leaving 4 crisscrossing blood marks on the fur of the woe's worm, deep into the flesh. Blood was spilling out, and the woe's shrew screamed in pain. It turned around angrily and bit Chu Xu again. Chu Xu's attack and dodge movements were done in one go. After a successful attack, he quickly retreated and kept his distance, not giving the woe's shrew any chance to get close. The woe's shrew was bleeding and panting heavily. Its big eyes were full of anger. Its stern front teeth were always exposed, trying to find an opportunity to bite off Chu Xu's neck. But this little dinosaur was very difficult to deal with and didn't give it a chance to get close. Squeak. The woe's shrew screamed. With a previous experience, it didn't attack rashly again, but kept walking in front of Chu Xu. Chu Xu knew very well that it was waiting for an opportunity. As long as he was not careful and exposed a flaw, the woe's shrew would definitely attack immediately. If the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. If the enemy moves, I will move first. Roar. Chu Xu roared back, and stood still in a stalemate with the woe's muradin. As long as the time was delayed, the injured woe's muradin would inevitably run out of strength, but Chu Xu, who always focused on strengthening his physical attributes, was still able to handle it with ease. Finally, the patience of the woe's muradin was exhausted and it could no longer hold back. It kept making impatient noises, and rushed forward fiercely with its short limbs moving, determined to tear Chu Xu into pieces. Anxious. Chu Xu spotted the flaw of the woe's muradin, and quickly avoided it when it rushed over, and went around to the side, stabilizing his body with a swing of his tail. Then, Chu Xu fought back, biting the woe's muradin's neck with his mouth full of fangs, locking its throat, piercing its skin and flesh straight into its trachea, and at the same time, his forelimbs also clamped its body with all his strength. Chu Xu's bite force is not as exaggerated as that of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, which can crush hard bones with one bite, but he can still do the throat-locking method that cat predators are best at. The woe's muradin was suppressed by Chu Xu. No matter how it used its flesh to struggle, it could not get rid of Chu Xu's sharp teeth. Suddenly, the woe's muradin tilted its head, opened its mouth and stuck out its tongue, closed its eyes, and stopped moving its limbs. Its fat and round body collapsed, and its breathing and heartbeat stopped. The body also exuded an inexplicable smell of decay. Dead? Chu Xu did not relax his vigilance. If I remember correctly, the possums of later generations are masters of playing dead. Whenever they encounter natural enemies and cannot escape, they will deceive the other party by playing dead. The reason is that they secrete a special paralyzing substance in their bodies. This substance can quickly enter the brain and make them lose consciousness immediately, as if they are dead. Possums can also excrete a liquid with a rotten smell from their scent glands, making the opponent mistakenly believe that their flesh is rotten. As the ancestor of possums, the woe's worm may also be proficient in playing dead, so Chu Xu did not dare to take it lightly, fearing that if he let go, the opponent would fight back desperately, so he continued to bite its neck. Squeak. Sure enough, not long after, the woe's worm, which had stopped breathing and heartbeat, suddenly came back to life, screamed hysterically, and struggled more violently. Little guy, you still want to trick me? Chu Xu bit the woe's worm's neck even harder. Finally, it could no longer support itself after being suffocated by lack of oxygen for too long, and it kicked its legs and died completely. Ling. You hunted a woe's worm, evolution points plus 10. It was not until the system prompt sounded that Chu Xu confirmed that this cunning woe's worm was really dead. 10 evolution points, not bad. Chu Xu's tense nerves finally relaxed. This was the first time he faced an enemy since he was born more than a month ago. If he was not careful, his dragon life that had just begun would come to an abrupt end. Fortunately, everything went well. Chu Xu defeated the enemy with his skills and experience. Now it was time to enjoy the spoils. Now Chu Xu no longer needed the help of the dragon mother to feed him. He could tear the skin and flesh of the prey to eat independently. He kicked the corpse of the woe's rat-toothed beast over and turned it upside down. Chu Xu opened his mouth and tore open its soft belly, and unceremoniously enjoyed the steaming internal organs in the abdomen. The internal organs of animals are rich in fat and protein, as well as essential vitamins and trace elements for the body. Generally, predators will eat these internal organs first after capturing prey. In the past, the dragon mother would only pack the remaining skin, flesh and bones home after enjoying the internal organs of the prey. This is also very similar in the later generations of team hunting lions and wolves. The leader first eats the prey's internal organs, the middle level eats the prey's skin and flesh, and the bottom level can only pick up some leftovers and bones to gnaw. Although Chu Xu and Luoxing did not gnaw bones, they did not have the opportunity to taste fresh internal organs. Ling. You ate the internal organs of the woe's rat tooth, evolution point plus 0.5. After hearing the system's prompt sound, Chu Xu was slightly surprised. It turns out that eating animal internal organs will give you higher evolution points. Chapter 7, Hell Creek Group. All creatures compete for freedom in the frosty sky. Roar. Chu Xu was just feasting on the belly of the woe's scorpion when he heard the roar of the dragon mother not far away. The ground beneath his feet began to shake violently. The dragon mother, who could smell the blood from a long distance away, took big steps and rushed home. She saw Xianyu and Luoxing, who were scared away by the woe's scorpion. Xianyu and Luoxing, who were still frightened, saw the dragon mother and felt like they had found their backbone. They danced with anxiety and kept howling. Both children were safe and sound. The dragon mother felt a little relieved, but she didn't find the figure of her eldest son. So she didn't care about Xianyu and Luoxing and rushed to the scene. The smell of blood at the scene was even more pungent, but what the dragon mother saw was a strange big black rat corpse. As for her eldest son, he was enjoying the delicious food leisurely, with blood dripping all over his mouth. Seeing Long Ma came back, Chu Xu raised his head, grinned, and revealed a bloody smile. Long Ma hurried to Chu Xu's side, lowered her big head, and checked that he was not injured. Only then did she completely put her mind at ease. Xianyu and Luoxing, who followed behind, also hid behind Long Ma's big feet in fear and looked around. When they found that the ferocious black rat had stopped moving, they came up curiously. Roar. Chu Xu, who had almost finished eating, gave up the body of the woe's triceratops. Xianyu and Luoxing, who were already starving, forgot their fear and rushed forward to grab the food, wagging their tails with joy. After a while, the woe's triceratops was eaten clean by Chu Xu, Xianyu and Luoxing, leaving only dried blood and broken bones on the ground. And Long Ma also brought back an unusual prey today, a triceratops cub. Triceratops, a large herbivorous dinosaur of the genus Triceratops of the family Ceratopsidae, is a dinosaur star as famous as Tyrannosaurus Rex. It is sturdy and bulky. Its most iconic features are the three huge horns growing on its head and the neck shield extending backwards. Its body is covered with thick skin-like armor, which looks majestic. Although it is only a Triceratops cub, its body size is also larger than Chu Xu. Its length from head to tail is more than 2 meters, and its weight is at least more than 1 ton. Facing such a rare Triceratops cub, Chu Xu did not want to waste it. He and Xianyu and Luoxing tore it apart and shared it until their stomachs were round and they could not eat anymore, so they stopped. After eating and drinking, night had already fallen. Chu Xu's family of 4 lay warmly in the dragon egg nest, snuggling with each other for warmth and fell asleep. The next morning. It was just dawn, and the morning mist in the forest was like a layer of gauze, floating quietly in the dawnlight. Chu Xu, Xianyu and Luoxing, who were sleeping in the dragon egg nest, were awakened by the roar of the dragon mother. The dragon mother had already stood up and roared at them with special meaning, asking them to leave with her. Female Tyrannosaurus Rex are often very sensitive and vigilant during the period of raising young. Because of the attack of the woe's rat tooth last night, the dragon mother was worried that other uninvited guests would break in and attack her children when she went out hunting, so she decided to move as soon as possible. After living here for more than a month, Chu Xu was still reluctant to leave suddenly after just getting familiar with it. However, no matter how reluctant he was, the issue of safety was the most important. Chu Xu was lucky yesterday and encountered a small predator that was not very threatening. If he encountered other medium or large predators, it would be hard to say whether he could see the sun this morning. The territory of the dragon mother is also very wide. Before this, she had prepared several secret and safe residences. So the dragon mother led the way in the front, and Chu Xu, Xianyu and Luoxing followed her big feet closely, and set off on the journey of moving. Every time Long Ma's big feet took a step, their little feet had to take more than 10 steps quickly to barely keep up and not fall behind. Speaking of which, this was Chu Xu's first time leaving home to go out and experience the real and vivid late Cretaceous dinosaur kingdom. In the distance at the end of the field of vision was a huge and undulating mountain range, as thick as a dragon's spine. This is the Rocky Mountains in western North America. It was continuously uplifted by the Laramide orogeny that began in the late Cretaceous. After that, it took tens of millions of years of evolution in the Tertiary and Quaternary periods to form the appearance that Chu Xu was familiar with in later generations. Chu Xu followed Longma along the winding river, passing through the larch forest with the autumn breeze. In the clear blue sky, groups of Cretaceous winged birds spread their wings and soared. From time to time, one or two salamanders jumped out of the bushes on the ground and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. What appeared most in Chu Xu's eyes were living dinosaurs. Among the low and dense cycads and horsetails, a large group of Triceratops and Torosaurus formed an airtight iron barrel, alert to potential threats around them, and quickly buried their heads in food. They were huge, just like elephants in later generations. They spent most of the day foraging for food to obtain enough energy to maintain a high energy consumption metabolic rate. Under the tall and lush pine, cypress and ginkgo trees, there were edmontosaurs standing on their hind legs and picking branches and leaves to eat. They also formed a large-scale tribe. The young cubs were playing and fighting around their parents, unknowingly attracting a group of hungry troodontosaurs, who were wandering around the edmontosaurs and staring at them. Ugh! At this moment, the edmontosaur leader turned his head to look at the location of the troodontosaurs, and the nasal sac on his nose suddenly bulged, making a loud noise like thunder. The rest of the edmontosaurs also puffed up their nasal sacs and made deafening noises towards the troodon group, scaring them so much that they dared not do anything again and turned and ran away in a hurry. There were also small groups of ankylosaurs and pachycephalosaurs drinking water by the river. With their special skills, they were often the targets that ordinary predators dared not provoke. The lone Ankylosaurus, Struthiomimus, and hook-handed dragons wandered through the mountains and forests, and accepted plants, insects, lizards, and small mammals. Dromaeosaur hunters such as Dakitoraptor and Styxraptor hid in the dark, patiently waiting for their prey to take the bait. There was also a huge shadow cast from time to time in the sky, which was the size of a small airplane. In this forest covered with autumn frost, the animals of the entire Hell Creek Formation of the Maastrichtian period of the late Cretaceous all survived with their own unique abilities, interweaving in front of Chu Xu's eyes into a beautiful picture of all kinds of animals competing for freedom in the frosty sky. The Cretaceous period is divided into the late and early periods, with a total of 12 periods. The Maastrichtian period is the last period of the late Cretaceous period. The formation is a rock stratigraphic unit. The so-called Hell Creek Formation refers to the stratigraphic location where dinosaur fossils were found. The Hell Creek Formation is one of the most famous strata of the Maastrichtian period of the late Cretaceous. It is mainly composed of sandstone, clay, and mudstone. At that time, it was a tributary of the Missouri River. As a whole, it formed a huge ecosystem composed of subtropical wetland forests and inland coastal floodplains. It is also famous for the discovery of famous dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus Rex, Triceratops, and Ankylosaur. This is exactly the paleontological history that Chu Xu devoted himself to studying in his previous life. When the history of the past has now become a reality and appeared vividly in front of him, his inner shock is also indescribable. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 Arriving at the New Home, Lazy Chewing Lizard, Please Collect and Recommend. Chu Xu and Xinyu Liuxing followed Longma all morning. Tired of walking, Xinyu and Liuxing refused to move, so Longma opened her mouth and swallowed them. Good. Chu Xu was shocked to see this scene, but soon he found that Longma just held Xinyu and Liuxing in her mouth, and opened a gap in her mouth for them to breathe. In this way, Xinyu and Liuxing were sitting in a Tyrannosaurus Rex version of a baby carriage. Chu Xu hesitated for a while, and decided to rely on his own legs to travel, because he was really afraid that Longma would accidentally eat them. And he is not small now, and Longma's mouth will not be able to fit him. At noon, Chu Xu and his family finally arrived at their new home. The new home is located in the upper reaches of the river. The location is also very secret. It is hidden among the lush vegetation, and the ground is covered with the golden larch needles. As the backup residence of the Dragon Mother, there are traces of her marking nearby, So even if the dragon mother is not there, no animal has the courage to occupy the magpie's nest. Arriving at the new home, the dragon mother put down the crescent moon and gnashing in her mouth, and asked Chu Xu and others to stay where they are and not run around, while she marked the scent nearby again. After the dragon mother left, Chu Xu, who had been traveling for a long time, was too tired to move anymore. He lay on his back on the large needles that served as a natural mattress, scratching his belly with his forelimbs, and rested comfortably. The crescent moon also listened to the dragon mother's words obediently, staying where he was and not running around. Only Liuxing completely ignored the dragon mother's instructions and ran around in the strange new home like a wild dog. Where did Liuxing, that fool, run off to again? Chu Xu closed his eyes to rest for a while, and when he opened his eyes again, Liuxing was nowhere to be seen. This guy, it seems that he will have to be tied up with a rope in the future. Dragon mother is not here, and as the eldest brother, he has the obligation to take good care of the dragon sisters and brothers, so Chu Xu had to stand up and look for Liuxing. There were footprints left by Liuxing on the ground. Following the footprints, Chu Xu soon found Liuxing by the river bank. However, Liuxing was hiding in the bushes by the riverbank at this time, with only a small head exposed, and his eyes were fixed on a certain place in front. What is this guy doing? Chu Xu was a little puzzled, and looked in the direction where Liuxing was staring, and saw a half-meter-long lizard lying on a rock, lazily basking in the sun. This is a lazy chewing lizard, with orange-red scales on its head and dark brown scales on its body and tail, which are clearly distinguished and particularly eye-catching. Liuxing was very curious. He had never seen such a strange creature before. So after observing it secretly for a while, he emerged from the bushes and approached it on tiptoe. As soon as Liuxing approached, the lazy chewing lizard, which had been motionless like a sculpture, suddenly moved, spread its short limbs, stuck out its tongue, and rushed towards Liuxing quickly. Liuxing was shocked and turned around to run. He lost his balance and even fell down, landing hard. Fortunately, the fall was not serious. After getting up in a panic, Liuxing continued to flee in a panic, only regretting that the dragon mother did not give him 2 more legs. Chu Xu, who saw this scene, was completely amused. His dragon brother was still as clear and stupid as ever. He was so cowardly, but he liked to provoke other animals. As the king of dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus Rex, it was really a shame to be chased by a small lizard. There was no other way, so I, the big brother, had to take action. Hissed the lazy chewing lizard chased Liuxing for a distance, and then gave up. It hissed and stuck out its tongue at Liuxing's back as he fled in a panic, as if mocking him. At this moment, a huge shadow suddenly fell, and before the lazy chewing lizard could react, Chu Xu, who came out of nowhere, stepped on its body and bit its neck with his big mouth. The lazy chewing lizard struggled with all his strength, but could not break free from Chu Xu's control. As its fragile neck was bitten, its trachea was bitten off, and it soon died. Ling. You hunted a lazy chewing lizard, evolution points +8. Easy kill. Checking the current accumulated evolution points, there are full 33 points. Chu Xu kept 5 evolution points as usual, and the remaining 28 points were all converted into attribute points, which were evenly distributed to 7 points each for the 4 attributes. After the distribution was completed, the 4-dimensional attribute column of the information panel was refreshed. 4-dimensional attributes: Strength 45, Agility 45, Constitution 50, Spirit 49. The warm current filled his limbs and bones, constantly nourishing and strengthening Chu Xu's body. After the attribute point strengthening effect ended, Chu Xu tore open the belly of the lazy chewing lizard and swallowed the internal organs. After eating, he swaggered home with the remaining corpse. On the other side, Liuxing also fled all the way back home, and happened to see the mother of dragons who had returned after marking the territory, so he immediately whimpered and pounced on her, looking like a naughty child who was bullied and crying to his mother. Although the mother of dragons didn't know what happened, she still lowered her big head and stretched out her tongue to lick Liuxing's body gently. While enjoying the mother of dragons' tender licking, Liuxing continued to make a wrong gurgling sound. No one can make a dinosaur like this. Chu Xu returned home and saw Liuxing in this state again, and he secretly complained. Chu Xu was too lazy to care about Liuxing anymore, and brought the lazy chewing lizard to Long Ma and shared the food with her. Turning his head and seeing the enemy who bullied him in front of him, Liuxing was startled again and subconsciously hid behind Long Ma's big feet. It was not until he found that the lazy chewing lizard was lying on its back and motionless, and there was no sound, that Liu Xing reacted and hurried over to get a share. Pa! But Chu Xu turned around and hit Liu Xing's cheek with his big tail, which made him stagger and almost fall down again. Liu Xing? Question mark? Do you know how much psychological damage a big dick can cause to a little Tyrannosaurus Rex's childhood? But Chu Xu would not spoil Liu Xing. Of course, he had the right to share the prey he hunted. Liu Xing was so angry that he dared not step forward rashly. After being beaten by Chu Xu again, he could only open his mouth indignantly and bite the air crunch non-stop, expressing his dissatisfaction with the ups and downs of the Allegro. Liu Xing also tried to complain to Long Ma, but Long Ma ignored him because the food was in front of her. She opened her bloody mouth and swallowed the remaining lazy chewing lizard into her stomach in one bite, without even a bone residue left. Although such a small thing is not enough to fill her stomach, it fills her stomach. Long Ma, who has been running around for a whole morning, is already tired. She lies on the ground and falls asleep, snoring loudly in a short while. Chu Xu and Xianyu also lie down beside Long Ma to rest, leaving Liu Xing alone in the wind. Chapter 9 The Thriving World. The hunt is on. The sun rises and the moon sets, and the stars move. Half a year has passed since Chu Xu was born, and autumn is coming to an end. What follows is not a cold winter, but a warm spring when everything revives. The large forest has shed its yellow leaves and put on a new green outfit. The tender leaf buds flutter in the wind, as crystal clear as jade. In the late Cretaceous, large-scale volcanic eruptions occurred all over the world, with an average scale of 10 times that of modern times, causing the concentration of carbon dioxide in the air to reach 4 times that of modern times. The greenhouse effect caused by this has led to global warming, with an average temperature 5 degrees Celsius higher than modern times. Alaska and Greenland within the Arctic Circle are both home to lush temperate forests, and the Antarctic Circle is also the home of dinosaurs. The diversity of life reached its peak at this time. Dinosaurs still occupied an undisputed dominant position. After more than 100 million years of development and evolution, they became more diverse and reached their peak. The blue sky was ruled by pterodactyls, but their status was in jeopardy under the development of birds, and they gradually lost air supremacy. A new generation of top predators, Mosasaurus, was born in the deep ocean. With its unparalleled strength, it wiped out the once powerful ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs. There were also small and delicate mammals. Although they still lived in the shadow of dinosaurs and endured humiliation like sewer rats, they quietly branched out in corners unknown to dragons. Finally, various flowering angiosperms rose rapidly, co-evolved with insects, and subtly changed the pattern of the entire ecosystem. In a thriving forest, the last dinosaur kingdom of the Maastrichtian period of the late Cretaceous was full of vitality. However, only Chu Xu knew that all this prosperity would end with the fragment of an asteroid from outer space. For all dinosaurs, that would be the real end of the world. Of course, that was all later. At dawn, the morning mist filled the air. Chu Xu climbed up from the soft vegetation mattress, stretched his body, and relaxed his muscles. Check my attribute panel. Name, Chu Xu. Age, 6 months. Race, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Male. Growth stage, juvenile. 4-dimensional attributes, strength 105, agility 105, constitution 115, spirit 110, evolution points. 5. Skills, scratching, biting, rhyming, acceleration, achievements, overlord's talent, primary, next evolution form, Agumon. In just a few months, Chu Xu's 4-dimensional attribute values more than doubled, breaking through the 3-digit mark. With a surge in the 4-dimensional attribute values, Chu Xu's body size also ushered in a wild growth. His body length is already more than 2 meters, his head height is more than 1 meter, and his weight is at least 300 kilograms. His head is heavy, his neck is short and thick, his mouth is full of fangs that look like small bananas, and there are dense blade-like serrations on the edges. His claws are like hooks, his long tail is like a halberd, his physique is getting stronger and stronger, and his whole body exudes a strong and domineering aura. It is hard to imagine that Chu Xu is just a Tyrannosaurus Rex cub that has just reached half a year old. In comparison, the body length of the dragon sister Xianyu and the dragon brother Liu Xing is less than 1 meter, the head height is less than half a meter, and the weight is only about 50 kilograms. The two dragons combined are not as good as Chu Xu. This also puzzled Xianyu and Liu Xing. We are born from the same roots, why is there such a big gap between us and our eldest brother? In this regard, Chu Xu only wants to say that the dragon life with cheats does not need explanation. In addition, the skills that Chu Xu practiced unremittingly every day have also been upgraded. Now he has mastered 4 basic skills. Scratching. With the improvement of proficiency, Chu Xu can swing his claws 5 times in an instant, and the attack speed has reached the millisecond level. Crushing. At the moment of opening his mouth to bite the enemy, he can temporarily double his bite force. Ramming. Mustering all the muscles in his body to ram the enemy, and can temporarily double his strength. Accelerating. While running, he can temporarily double his speed. It's time to try real hunting. Chu Xu's eyes were bright and eager to try. Although he had tried hunting many times before, the targets he chose were small prey such as insects and lizards, which were not challenging at all, and the evolution points he obtained were pitifully few. In order to accumulate more evolution points, and for the consideration of his independent life in the future, Chu Xu also wanted to master more hunting skills and accumulate more hunting experience as soon as possible. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was already half a year old, was almost at the age to learn hunting. Roar. On this day, Long Ma, who was out hunting, let out a deafening roar and left home with Chu Xu and Xianyu Luxing, ready to formally teach them the skills of hunting. Finally, I'm going to start learning hunting. Chu Xu was excited. For a predatory dinosaur like Tyrannosaurus Rex, hunting is naturally the most important skill for survival. So, how did Tyrannosaurus Rex hunt its prey? Is it the same as the conjecture of later paleontologists? He was also very curious about this, and this time he could follow Long Ma to find out. Chu Xu followed Long Ma closely, carefully observing her every move. While walking, Long Ma's huge head was raised high, looking forward, with her back and tail stretched in a straight line. Every step she took seemed steady and slow, and her eyes' vision, nose's sense of smell, and ears' hearing were always paying attention to any movement in the surrounding environment. And Long Ma was searching not only for living prey, but also for traces left by the prey, such as hair, footprints, urine, feces, etc. With her experience, she could obviously judge the specific identity and route of the owner based on the traces of these scales and armor, and then consider whether to list it as a target. As the undisputed top predator in the food chain of the Hell Creek group, the Tyrannosaurus Rex's diet includes most of the creatures in it. Among them, the most favored are the herbivorous dinosaurs with huge bodies and delicious meat, especially Edmontosaurus, Triceratops, and strange dragon. Chu Xu firmly memorized these hunting techniques and key points. On the other side, Xianyu and Luxing obviously didn't know that the purpose of Long Ma's trip was to take them to learn hunting. One was still sleepy due to lack of sleep, and walked too slowly and fell behind a long distance. The other could no longer restrain his wild dog temper, running around everywhere, startling many birds and beasts. Long Ma, who was concentrating on searching for prey, had no intention of managing Xianyu and Luxing, so only Chu Xu, the eldest brother, took action. First, he shook up Xianyu, and then dragged Luxing back. After a beating, he became much more honest. At this moment, the dragon mother stopped and saw a large, 3-toed footprint on the soil not far ahead. It seemed that it was left not long ago. There is a discovery. The dragon mother roared in a low voice, and took the 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex to speed up and rush in the direction of the footprints. Soon, the owner of these footprints appeared in front of them. It was a group of Edmontosaurus. Chapter 10 Sexy Tyrannosaurus Rex Online Hunting. Please add to your collection and recommend. Edmontosaurus, named after its fossils found in Edmonton, is one of the largest dinosaurs in the Hell Creek Formation. An adult Edmontosaurus can reach 9 meters in length and weigh 4 tons. Edmontosaurus has a flat head and a duck-like beak. It is a typical hadrosaur dinosaur. There are hundreds of dense cheek teeth in its mouth, forming a washboard-like cutting surface that can easily crush the food it ingests like a grinder. At this time, the small group of more than 10 Edmontosaurus gathered together to eat the plants they saw along the way. They did not let go of the tender buds that had just emerged, and swept away the branches of trees one by one. The view in the forest is often blocked, so the Edmontosaurus always maintain a high level of vigilance, with their heads raised high to keep an eye on all directions and listen to all directions. Even when they stop to eat, there are special Edmontosaurus responsible for keeping watch. On the other side, the mother of dragons, who had already discovered the traces of prey, did not act rashly, but kept a certain safe distance from the Edmontosaurus group. neither being discovered nor losing sight, just following step by step, patiently waiting for the opportunity. Although the adult Edmontosaurus is huge, it does not have special self-defense weapons such as giant horns, tail hammers, and iron heads like Triceratops, Ankylosaurus, and Pachycephalosaurus. Some of them only have nasal sacs on the nasal cavity that can make sounds to scare away the enemy. Ordinary small and medium-sized predators may be scared away by the bluffing roar of Edmontosaurus, but adult Tyrannosaurus Rex will not be scared of it. However, Edmontosaurus runs very fast. With such a large body, it can reach a speed of more than 45 km per hour for short-distance sprints, which makes the adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is bulky and has a maximum speed of up to 20 km per hour for short-distance sprints, far behind. Therefore, in order to ensure the success rate of hunting, the dragon mother must find the best time, take the target by surprise, and attack when it is unprepared. If she doesn't make a move, she will kill the target with one strike. The atmosphere in the silent forest was solemn, and Chu Xu, who was following the dragon mother, also felt a little nervous. As time passed, the sun was high in the sky, and the Edmontosaurus, who had been running for a long distance, temporarily stopped by the river bank, drinking water one after another. One of the thin and elderly Edmontosaurus finished drinking water, but felt itchy on his body. He was afraid that there were too many lice parasitizing between the rough skin folds on his body, so he hurried to find a tall beech tree nearby. This beech tree has been scratched by countless dinosaurs, and most of the bark has been worn away, leaking sticky sap from it. Some unlucky insects accidentally got stuck to the sap, and gradually solidified into resin with the sap, and then slowly formed ember. The old Edmontosaurus leaned its back against the trunk of the beech tree and rubbed it vigorously up and down to scratch its itch. Its huge size and strength should not be underestimated. The whole beech tree shook violently with the movement of the old Edmontosaurus. While the old Edmontosaurus was concentrating on scratching its itch, the Edmontosaurus group continued to rush on, and no dragon noticed that the old Edmontosaurus had fallen behind. Nature is cruel, and the survival of the fittest is an eternal law no matter what era. Such an old Edmontosaurus is just a burden to the entire Edmontosaurus group. It runs slowly and has to compete with them for the few foods. I am afraid that it may become an abandoned child and be expelled at any time. It was not until the old Edmontosaurus realized that it had fallen behind that it chased after it in a panic, but its aging body made it physically exhausted and slow, and it could only watch the other Edmontosaurus gradually go away. The opportunity has come. The appearance of the old Edmonton dragon was an opportunity for the dragon mother who had been lying in ambush. The dragon mother deliberately lowered her body, slowed down her pace, and with the help of the tall vegetation around her, she quietly approached the old Edmonton dragon from behind. The old Edmonton dragon was still unaware of the approaching danger. Bang! When the distance between the two sides was shortened, the dragon mother no longer hid her figure, suddenly took a big step, and her heavy hind legs trampled on the ground, making a thunderous explosion. The old Edmonton dragon, who heard the movement behind him, realized the danger, and the swollen nasal sac made a huge sound, trying to deter the enemy. But the dragon mother ignored it and burst into a full-speed sprint towards the old Edmonton dragon. The ferocious bloody mouth could not wait to open, revealing a mouthful of thick and long terrifying banana teeth, the longest of which was even 20 centimeters long, buried deep in the gums, and looked solid and strong. It could not only easily tear the flesh, but also penetrate the bones. The pretentious intimidation did not work. The old Edmontosaurus hurriedly ran away, and even shouted at the direction where the Edmontosaurus group was going, trying to ask for their rescue. However, its shouting had the opposite effect. The Edmontosaurus group also discovered the appearance of the dragon mother in the back, so they sped up and ran forward one by one, and they didn't care about the old Edmontosaurus that fell behind. A very realistic scene. Although most of these herbivorous dinosaurs are social animals, their social nature is to increase the survival rate of individuals. After all, it is better to keep warm in a group than to be defeated by the enemy one by one. The rule behind this kind of cluster is actually it's none of your business. As long as the enemy's target is not yourself, then it basically has nothing to do with you. Who cares who is being hunted? The old Edmontosaurus' physical strength is no longer sustainable, and the running with all his strength gradually slowed down, and was soon chased by the dragon mother. Crack! The dragon mother opened her mouth and bit the tail of the old Edmontosaurus fiercely. The crisp sound of the tail vertebrae breaking directly echoed clearly in the air. The excruciating pain of the broken tail vertebrae made the old Edmontosaurus scream shrilly. The huge dragon body lost its balance and fell to the ground with a stumble, completely becoming a fish on the chopping board for the dragon to slaughter. After knocking down the old Edmontosaurus, the dragon mother turned her head and opened her bloody mouth again. The upper and lower jaws showed an exaggerated arc, and she bit its neck quickly and accurately. How exaggerated is the bite force of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex? It can generally reach between 90,000 newtons and 120,000 newtons. The bite force at the end of the mouth can even reach 200,000 newtons, which is enough to crush the hardest bones in an instant. The old Edmontosaurus had no ability to resist. The cervical vertebrae were broken by the bite of the dragon mother, and a large amount of blood gushed out. In a short time, he lost all vitality, his body collapsed weakly, and his cloudy and lifeless eyes were extinguished like a candle in the wind. Horizontal ellipsis. Chapter 11, Wind God Pterosaur. Golden achievement, telepathic perception. Dead. Less than a minute had passed from the lightning strike to the successful hunt. Chu Xu, who witnessed the whole process of Long Ma hunting the old Edmontosaurus, was full of surprise. His previous conjecture about the hunting method of Tyrannosaurus Rex was also verified. Tyrannosaurus Rex is undoubtedly best at ambush hunting. It searches for targets with its three senses of sight, smell and hearing. After selecting a target, it will secretly ambush and wait patiently for the opportunity. It will launch a surprise attack when the prey reveals a flaw. As long as it can get close, with its terrible bite force and deadly weapons, almost no prey can escape from their palms. After the hunt was successful, Long Ma's tense muscles relaxed, and she turned her head and roared at the location of the three little Tyrannosaurus Rex. The three little Tyrannosaurus Rex were already hungry, and seeing Long Ma's successful hunt, they happily rushed forward to grab food. Long Ma occupied the abdomen of the old Edmontosaurus, tore open its belly with her claws, and swallowed the internal organs in big mouthfuls. Chu Xu was given a thick hind limb of the old Edmontosaurus, which was 2 meters long and was much taller than him when standing upright. You have eaten Edmontosaurus meat, evolution point plus 0.2. After Chu Xu had eaten and drunk his fill, another evolution point was deposited. I wonder how many evolution points I can get by hunting such an adult Edmontosaurus. Chu Xu thought to himself, that would definitely be a generous amount of evolution points. However, with his current size, he was far from being able to do that. He had to eat one bite at a time and start hunting with small prey. After the whole family of dragons had eaten their fill, the dragon mother dragged the remaining body of the old Edmontosaurus back home, adhering to the good habit of saving food. Gah. Gah. Just as Chu Xu's family returned home with a full load of spoils, a hoarse cry came from the sky, and a large shadow was cast, covering their heads like a dark cloud. It's Quetzalcoatlus. Chu Xu looked up at the sound and saw several huge Quetzalcoatlus hovering in the air. Their wings were so wide that they could cover the sky and the sun, and their wingspan was over 10 meters. Quetzalcoatlus, also known as Quetzalcoatlus, is a pterodactyl of the Quetzalcoatlus genus of the family Elis. It is the largest pterodactyl. An adult Quetzalcoatlus is over 5 meters long, which is equivalent to a giraffe when standing on the ground. Its wingspan is over 10 meters and it weighs 500 kilograms. Its size alone is enough to give other animals a heavy sense of oppression. Duh. These Quetzalcoatlus kept circling and flying above Chu Xu's family, making sharp and piercing screams. It was obvious that they were not just passing by. Seeing these uninvited guests approaching, Long Ma's muscles immediately tense up. After putting down the body of the old Edmontosaurus, she quickly covered the three young Tyrannosaurus Rex under her body. She knew exactly what this group of Quetzalcoatlus was planning. Quetzalcoatlus was not a scavenger, but a typical carnivore with a wide range of diet, including fish, birds, amphibians and small dinosaurs. So what this group of Quetzalcoatlus was targeting was not the body of Edmontosaurus mentioned by Long Ma, but the three little Tyrannosaurus Rex behind her. Xianyu and Liuxing were trembling with fear, curled up into a ball, hiding under Long Ma, fearing that they would be taken away by Quetzalcoatlus as a snack if they were not careful. Chu Xu also hugged Long Ma's thigh tightly, which was not cowardly, but self-protection. Sure enough, when Chu Xu really came into contact with the last dinosaur kingdom of the late Cretaceous, he felt the countless dangers and threats hidden here. Tyrannosaurus Rex was indeed the absolute land overlord of the Hell Creek Formation of the late Cretaceous, ranking at the top of the food chain, and basically no other animals dared to provoke it except its own kind. But all this is based on adulthood. If the Tyrannosaurus cubs have not grown up, they may become the food of other predators at any time. The Quetzalcoatlus and the dragon mother are still in a stalemate. One or two Quetzalcoatlus made an ugly provocative cry in the sky to attract the dragon mother's attention, while another Quetzalcoatlus tried to go around and attack the three little Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the dragon mother was not deceived by these cunning Quetzalcoatlus. She always stood in place, firmly protecting the three little Tyrannosaurus Rex under her body, leaving the Quetzalcoatlus completely without any chance. This scene can be called the Cretaceous version of the eagle catching the chicken. In the end, seeing that there was no chance of success, the Quetzalcoatlus flapped their huge wings and turned around and flew away helplessly. After all, they did not dare to take the risk and confront such an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex head-on. After all, although the Quetzalcoatlus is large in size, its tonnage is not at the same level as that of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex. One weighs only 500 jin, while the other weighs more than 8 tons. If they really fight, they will be killed instantly. As the terrifying shadow brought by the Quetzalcoatlus group faded away, Long Ma breathed a sigh of relief and released the three little Tyrannosaurus Rex hiding under her. Chu Xu was still a little frightened, but he kept a record of these Quetzalcoatlus Rex in his little notebook. 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west, don't bully the young Tyrannosaurus Rex. He temporarily remembered this grudge, and waited for them to return it tenfold in the future. After returning home safely, the exhausted Long Ma and Qianyu Lixing went to bed early. Chu Xu was still practicing for the unfinished skill proficiency task today. After today's incident of Long Ma hunting and the threat of the Quetzalcoatlus pterosaur, Chu Xu dared not relax even more. He must seize every minute and every second to make himself stronger in order to survive in this world full of dangers. From birth to today, you have persisted in training for a full 200 days, and obtained the golden achievement, telepathy, primary. Telepathy, golden achievement, can be upgraded to make the 5 senses more acute, able to sense the breath of other creatures within a radius of 1 kilometer, and judge their appearance characteristics, specific location, and number. When Chu Xu finally finished today's skill proficiency practice task, an unexpected system prompt sound rang in his ears again. Another achievement has been obtained. Primary telepathy can sense the breath of other creatures within a radius of 1 kilometer, and even the temperature, smell, water pressure, electrical signals of the surrounding environment. It is all-encompassing and clear. This is an auxiliary magic skill. In this way, you can easily search for suitable prey when hunting, and you can also detect the hidden dangers around in advance. When it is upgraded to intermediate or even advanced level, the effect will be even more powerful. Chu Xu will wait and see. Chapter 12 Hunting Practice, Leptoceratops. Grandma doesn't love me, uncle doesn't love me. Please collect and recommend. In the following period of time, every time Long Ma went out hunting, she would bring 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex with her, so that they could observe and learn her hunting process. After teaching, it was natural to practice. So Long Ma took a lot of effort to catch a live prey for the 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex to practice hunting. It was a slender-horned dinosaur. Slender-horned dinosaur, also known as Cretaceous, is a small herbivorous dinosaur of the genus slender-horned dinosaur of the family Predaceratopsidae. It is a close relative of Triceratops and Torosaurus. However, compared with a huge Triceratops and Torosaurus, slender-horned dinosaur is really a small witch. It is only about 2 meters long and weighs only 300 to 400 kilograms. It is really not enough in the Hell Creek Formation where giant dragons are rampant. Slender-horned dinosaur has a beak like a parrot, and the bone plates on the neck form a signature neck shield, but there is no horn on the top of the head. There is only a small protrusion on the snout, and the overall look is like a weakened version of Triceratops. Generally speaking, adult Tyrannosaurus Rex would not use Leptoceratops as food. After all, they are too small to provide much meat, but they are more than enough to be used as hunting training tools for Tyrannosaurus Rex cubs. The Leptoceratops that fell into the mouth of the dragon mother thought that it was dead, but unexpectedly it was released suddenly. The desire to survive made it run away without hesitation. Roar! The 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex roared excitedly and rushed to chase after it. Among them, Chu Xu was the fastest. The muscles attached to his thick hind legs suddenly bulged, and his agile dragon body shot out like an arrow from a string. Compared with the bulky and slow adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, Chu Xu, who was light and healthy, was much faster. The agility value of more than 100 points allowed him to reach a maximum speed of more than 50 kilometers per hour. In addition, Chu Xu also had skills. Acceleration. While performing the skill, Chu Xu's short-range burst speed increased by a full double. He flew out at an amazing speed comparable to that of a cheetah, as fast as lightning, leaving Xianyu and Liuxing far behind, and caught up with the fleeing Slenderhorn in the blink of an eye. Bang! Then, Chu Xu hit it again, using the momentum of the high-speed charge and the doubled force to hit the body of the Slenderhorn. With a heavy muffled sound, the Slenderhorn was like a car that was out of control and was knocked over and fell to the ground. It rolled on the ground for several rounds, barely buffering its terrible impact. Mu the Slenderhorn, which was lying on the ground, let out a sad wail. After being hit by Chu Xu, it felt that all the bones in its body were about to fall apart, and it couldn't even get up. Seizing the opportunity, Chu Xu took 2 steps at a time and pressed forward, aiming at the thick and short neck of the Slenderhorn, and opened his mouth to bite it hard. Crack! However, the neck shield of the Ceratosaurus protected its most vulnerable neck very well. The entire neck shield is a bone plate with holes formed by the backbones of the skull extending backwards. It is like a composite armored shield. It is hard and heavy, and the teeth of ordinary carnivorous dinosaurs can hardly bite through it. Chu Xu also felt that his teeth were biting on a piece of stone, and it was difficult to penetrate half an inch. Sure enough, with my current teeth and bite force, it is still difficult to bite through the neck shield. Chu Xu did not let go, but once again violently contracted his chewing muscles, causing the entire muscle group on the neck to burst and tighten, and the bite force was instantly doubled. Bite it to pieces. Crack! With only a crisp sound, half of the neck shield of the Ceratosaurus actually burst open, and was roughly crushed by Chu Xu's mouthful of sharp teeth, turning into fragments scattered all over the ground. Without the protection of the neck shield, Chu Xu opened his mouth and bit the neck of the Ceratosaurus again. His teeth pierced deeply into its carotid artery and trachea, causing it to bleed, and its breathing became short and tense. Moo! Moo! The Ceratosaurus howled hysterically, struggling desperately with its huge body, which put a lot of pressure on Chu Xu. He had to use all his strength to barely suppress it. On the other side, the late-coming Xianyu and Liuxing also imitated the actions of the dragon mother and bit the Ceratosaurus. The clever Xianyu bit the abdomen of the Ceratosaurus, tearing a huge hole in its belly, exposing its bloody internal organs to the air, and the pain made the Ceratosaurus howl even more shrill, and the silly Liuxing insisted on biting the hind legs of the Ceratosaurus, but before he could react, he was kicked to the ground by the struggling Ceratosaurus and fell directly on his back. Fortunately, Liuxing was thick-skinned and the kick from the Ceratosaurus did not hit his vital parts, so he was not seriously injured. After Liuxing got up, he could not help but feel a little angry, so he bit the Ceratosaurus tail again. Pa! Finally, Liuxing was hit by the Ceratosaurus tail again, and he stumbled and fell flat on his face. Chu Xu, who saw this scene from the corner of his eye, was also drunk. He really didn't know how his stupid dragon brother would survive alone in the future. The prey he faced this time was the Ceratosaurus, which was not very threatening. If he encountered dinosaurs such as Triceratops, Ankylosaurs, Pachycephalosaurs, etc. in the future, it would not be as simple as falling down. He might lose more than he gained. Soon, with a loss of a large amount of blood and severe suffocation and hypoxia, the Ceratosaurus's struggle gradually weakened, and finally kicked its legs and stopped moving. Ling. You hunted a Ceratosaurus, evolution points plus 15. After the system prompt sounded, Chu Xu opened his mouth and unceremoniously enjoyed his spoils, and occupied the belly of the slender-horned dragon with the most delicious meat, swallowing the steaming internal organs. As for Xianyu and Liuxing, although they were also greedy, they were intimidated by Chu Xu's usual silver power, so they could only wait obediently by the side and wait until Chu Xu finished eating before eating. Chu Xu was also quite satisfied with this, and it was worth it for him to love his dragon sisters and brothers so much. After Chu Xu was full, he gave up the remaining body of the slender-horned dragon. Xianyu and Liuxing, who had been anxious like ants on a hot pot, rushed forward to fight for it. Roar! Although Xianyu usually doesn't show off her abilities, don't forget that she is a female Tyrannosaurus Rex. Although her physical development is not as good as Chu Xu's, her size is much stronger than Liuxing, an ordinary male Tyrannosaurus Rex. Chapter 13, Away Game, Mantis Claw. It was another day of continuous spring rain. Raindrops fell from the gray sky, and the lingering fog enveloped the entire large forest in a hazy state, as if in a mirage. Not only was the weather bad these days, but Dragon Mother's luck was also bad. She failed to capture prey, and the 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex were also hungry. Hunting failure is actually a normal thing. Even for top predators such as adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, hunting is more failure than success, and the success rate may be less than 30%. In this regard, Chu Xu would naturally not sit and wait for death. Now that he has learned a lot of hunting skills from Dragon Mother, it is time to really put them into practice and share the hunting pressure for Dragon Mother. In order to save energy for the next hunt, Dragon Mother has fallen asleep, and Xianyu and Liuxing are no exception. They are too hungry to make a fuss. Chu Xu braved the rain alone and went to the riverbank not far from home. Chu Xu knew that the environment of the Hell Creek Formation was extremely dangerous, so he chose a hunting area not too far from home, and used telepathic perception to be alert to any disturbance within a kilometer around him at any time, so that he could prepare countermeasures in advance if he encountered danger. Telepathic perception spread, and countless signals were captured by Chu Xu's sensory organs like young swallows returning to their nests, and finally formed a 3-dimensional topographic map that only he could see in front of him. All the hidden creatures were counted without exception, with clear layers and no details. Because of the continuous rain for several days, the water level of the river has risen significantly, and the temperature has also dropped. The fish that inhabit it have also come to the shallow waters near the shore to find food. And Chu Xu's purpose is to catch fish. There are so many fish. Through telepathic perception, Chu Xu can clearly capture one after another of the strange ancient fish swimming in the river. There were small and exquisite round-tailed fish less than 5 centimeters long, ancient white sturgeons with long snouts like swords, flat freshwater blowfish, and even Chu Xu found a small shark less than half a meter long, called the bee-toothed shark, whose name was related to a game called Little Bee. Chu Xu came to the riverbank carefully, crouched down, and kept a sharp eye on the activities of the fish in the river. At the same time, he stretched out a front paw and gently skimmed the water to create tiny waves, imitating the sound of insects falling into the water. This method of luring fish was learned by Chu Xu from a creature called a fishing cat in his previous life. It can make fish mistakenly think that food has appeared, so they come to investigate, but they fall into the trap of the fishing cat. After waiting quietly for a while, Chu Xu soon found a blowfish more than half a meter long approaching the riverbank. As Chu Xu's mind moved, the invisible deterrent force formed by the Overlord's talent burst out, causing the blowfish to fall into a brief dizziness. Shoo! The next second, Chu Xu made a lightning move, and his powerful front claws stabbed at the position of the plowshare ray at a speed that was faster than the speed of a millisecond. With a splash. As a splash of water exploded on the surface of the river, the entire plowshare ray was directly pierced by Chu Xu's sharp claws and thrown onto the riverbank. Not bad. The first attempt to catch fish was successful. Chu Xu was overjoyed to see the plowshare ray struggling desperately on the shore. With a sharp perception of telepathy and the powerful deterrence of the Overlord as assistance, coupled with the speed of swinging claws at a speed of milliseconds, fishing was simply a piece of cake for him. Pa. The plowshare ray, which was dizzy for a short time, finally woke up, but it was too late, and could only struggle violently on the shore. Chu Xu was already starving, and he opened his mouth and bit the entire shovel ray from the tail. He bit it in half with his upper and lower jaws, and swallowed it whole into his empty stomach. Ling. You hunted a shovel ray, evolution points +3, Ling. You consumed shovel ray meat, evolution points +0.1, the familiar taste of sashimi, fresh and refreshing. Not satisfied after eating a shovel ray, Chu Xu changed his position and continued to fish in the same way. Plop. Plop. A series of explosions sounded from the river. Chu Xu used telepathy to detect and lock the target, and then used the king's talent to stun it for a short time. Finally, he made a swift move, using his front claws as a harpoon to kill the enemy with one strike. The whole fishing process was like flowing water, done in one go, and the success rate was also very high. In a short time, Chu Xu caught 7 or 8 big fish. After filling his stomach, he kept the rest and prepared to take them back to Longmai and Qianai Luxing. This is not only a good place to hunt, but also a treasure land to earn evolution points. Chu Xu sighed. He caught so many big fish and earned more than 20 evolution points. It was great. However, How to transport so many fish back at once was also a problem. This did not bother Chu Xu. There were water lilies growing on the river surface not far away, and their wide lotus leaves were just suitable for packaging. Soon, Chu Xu jumped into the river. The special hollow bone structure in his body allowed him to float on the water easily. With his powerful hind legs and tail as oars, he swam effortlessly. That is, when Chu Xu swam to the river where the water lilies grew and was about to pick the lotus leaves, he suddenly sensed something strange and turned his head to look in a direction. The water not far away surged violently, and two black shadows rushed towards him like arrows. Those were two gars that were over 1 meter long. Gars are long and cylindrical in shape, with a protruding mouth that resembles a crocodile's mouth, revealing 2 rows of sharp teeth. Their bodies are covered with hard diamond-shaped bone scales. They are very ferocious and will attack all the fish they encounter. They are giant freshwater carnivorous fish unique to North America. Like crocodiles, they are living fossils and still exist today. The two gars obviously regarded Chu Xu as prey and opened their mouths to bite him. Even in the water, Chu Xu did not panic, but quickly faced the enemy head-on, with a pair of sharp front claws ready to go. Swish! As soon as a gar approached Chu Xu's front claws moved brazenly. Even with the heavy resistance of the river water, the attack speed was still so fast that it could not be seen by the naked eye. The high temperature generated by the friction instantly caused sparks to appear in the surrounding river water. This move is called the peacock mantis claw. Under Chu Xu's sharp and swift claws, the hard bone scales on the surface of the gar were useless, and were easily pierced and torn apart like paper, and the whole body was almost torn in half alive. Chu Xu casually threw away the gar that was already in great pain, and locked the second attacking gar with his other front claw. He broke through the water flow again at an astonishing speed and chopped the gar's head. Chi! Before the second gar could react, the whole head was roughly torn open by Chu Xu's claws, and the blood that flowed out dyed the surrounding river water red. It lost its strength and fell to the riverbed on the spot. You little guy, you still want to fight with Lord Long? Even if it was fighting away from home, Chu Xu was not afraid at all, and easily controlled these two overconfident gars. Chapter 14, Sunshine on the Shoulders, the Upper Limit of Childhood. Please collect and recommend. Ling. You hunted a gar, evolution points +5, Ling. You hunted a gar, evolution points +5. The two gars brought Chu Xu another surprise, not only adding food, but also harvesting a full 10 evolution points. Continuing to the river where water lilies grow, Chu Xu picked up lotus leaves, bit the bodies of the two gars into several pieces, wrapped them in lotus leaves and packed them away. After returning to the river bank, he did the same with the rest of the fish bodies, and finally filled the lotus leaves with bulging, held them in his mouth and returned with a full load. When Chu Xu set out on his return journey, the drizzling spring rain had stopped. After the rain, the sky cleared up, the sun shone on the earth again, and everything was refreshed under the washing of the rain. Crystal clear water droplets hung on the tender branches and green leaves, still flashing with crystal light, and the air was filled with a fresh breath. Animal activities will also become more frequent after the rain. The sleeping dragon mother woke up and slowly supported her huge dragon body, preparing to go out hunting again and try her luck. After getting up, the dragon mother looked at her 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex as usual, but only saw Crescent Moon and Little Xing who were still sleeping. Where did the boss go again? Roar! The dragon mother was a little confused and nervous when a familiar roar sounded. The dragon mother looked in the direction of the sound and saw Chu Xu running back quickly, seemingly holding some kind of plant in his mouth. My god, the boss is so hungry that he has started to eat grass. However, when Chu Xu threw the food in his mouth on the ground, he saw that it was full of fresh and plump fish meat, which made the dragon mother's eyes go straight. It turned out that the boss went hunting and caught so many fish. The dragon mother's limited IQ could not understand how Chu Xu did it, and it was not important. She only knew that there was food in front of her, so why not eat it? Dragon mother opened her mouth excitedly and gobbled up large chunks of fish. This was the first time that dragon mother had eaten fish so heartily. The late Cretaceous period was warm and humid with many rivers, lakes and wetlands, dense water networks, and abundant fish resources. However, there were few fish in the diet of Tyrannosaurus Rex, mainly because they were not good at fishing. Moreover, the average fish was only a little bit of meat, and it took a lot of effort to catch one, which was not enough for an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex to fill its teeth. Therefore, Fishing was a last resort for them and was almost not in the scope of prey selection. At the same time, Xianyu and Liuxing were also awakened by the sound of Dragon Mother eating fish. Finally, there was food to eat. Xianyu and Liuxing's eyes lit up, and they immediately pounced on it like starving ghosts, eating fish in big mouthfuls, with happiness written all over their faces. Under the sun, a colorful rainbow bloomed in the sky. Dragon Mother, Xianyu and Liuxing gathered together to enjoy the food brought back by Chu Xu, forming a beautiful picture. Chu Xu, who was already somewhat exhausted, leaned against a big tree, his mouth curled up, and he quietly watched this beautiful scene. The sun shone on his shoulders, free and romantic. Deep blue, give me some points. At night, after finishing his daily training, Chu Xu checked his harvest as usual and distributed the more than 30 evolution points he got from fishing today, leaving some for backup and converting the rest into attribute points to strengthen the 4-dimensional attributes. Check my attribute panel. Name, Chu Xu. Age, 6 months. Race, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Male. Growth stage, juvenile. 4-dimensional attributes, strength 120, agility 120, constitution 130, spirit 125, evolution points. 5. Skills, scratching, crushing, rhyming, acceleration, achievements, overlord's talent, primary, telepathic perception, primary, next evolutionary form, Agumon. The host's current 4-dimensional attribute value has reached the upper limit of the juvenile stage, and it is temporarily unable to continue to add points. Spend 100 evolution points to complete the first evolution. As the points were added, an unexpected system prompt sounded. Finally reached the evolution standard, can evolve into Agumon. Chu Xu was excited and surprised. Since it is temporarily impossible to continue adding points, the next goal is very clear, to collect 100 evolution points as soon as possible and complete the first evolution. The next morning, Longma took the 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex out hunting again. The bad luck some time ago was only temporary. Today, Chu Xu's family found traces of a family group of strange dragons not long after searching in the territory. In the ecological environment of the Hell Creek Formation, the population of strange dragons is only below Triceratops, Edmontosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex, ranking 4th, and the distribution range is very wide. As a typical ornithopod dinosaur, the strange dragon walked with strong hind limbs. However, they lacked powerful defense or counterattack weapons such as Triceratops, Ankylosaur, Pachycephalosaur, and Edmontosaurus, and they did not have the huge body of Edmontosaurus. The femur was much longer than the tibia, which showed that they were not good at running. Only the bone plate growing under the skin of the back could barely play a certain protective role when encountering attacks and bites from predators. But that was limited to ordinary predators. In front of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, the strange dragon's defense was completely useless. So for Tyrannosaurus Rex, the strange dragon was actually the prey with the highest hunting success rate. The strange dragon family group in front of us was composed of several small families of strange dragons, with a total of more than 10 strange dragons, including sub-adult and young strange dragons. As the strange dragons walked, they used their front paws to tumble in the forest to find food, from plant seeds, fruits, rhizomes, tender leaves to small insects and small lizards. Their grayish-blue color blends in with the surrounding trees and vegetation. If you don't look carefully, it's hard to spot them. Not far away, the target-locked dragon mother and 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex quietly approached the strange dragon group, found a good position to hide, and secretly observed the strange dragon group's every move. As a predator, if you want to hide your body well, judging the wind direction is an indispensable step. Most dinosaurs have a very sensitive sense of smell. If the predator does not pay attention to the wind direction and hides in a downwind position, then as long as the wind blows, the smell on their bodies will expose their position. The experienced dragon mother can judge the wind direction of the location based on the direction of her hair fluttering in the wind, and move at any time according to the change of wind direction. These details, although the dragon mother will not express them in words, are also deeply engraved in Chu Xu's mind. Meow! Suddenly, an adult strange dragon in the lead seemed to notice something strange, turned his head, and looked towards the hiding place of Chu Xu's family. Horizontal ellipsis. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15: Hunting Strange Dragons. Uninvited guests. Chu Xu's family remained motionless, like sculptures. After a while, the adult strange dragon turned its head back and continued to look for food with peace of mind. Taking this opportunity, Long Ma confirmed the route of the strange dragon group, and took 3 small Tyrannosaurus Rex to ambush on their way, waiting for them. This time, Chu Xu's family waited for more than an hour, lying motionless on the ground to hide their bodies. The whole process was very painful, and Xianyu and Liuxing were a little bit overwhelmed, especially Liuxing, who had ADHD, wanted to slip away before the ambush for a while. Fortunately, Chu Xu, who was standing by, forced his head to hold it in time, otherwise this guy accidentally exposed his body and disturbed the strange dragon group, and their efforts would be in vain. The strange dragon group was very vigilant, and their hearing was also very sharp. Any movement in the surrounding environment could not escape their ears. Although Chu Xu could not help but feel a little anxious, he still kept his composure and waited patiently for the strange dragons to fall into the trap. Finally, the strange dragons gradually approached the ambush position of Chu Xu's family, less than 10 meters away. The humid air shortly after the rain and the wind direction against the wind covered the smell of Chu Xu's family very well, so that the strange dragons approaching step by step did not notice anything unusual. Hulu finally, a low roar rolled out from the depths of the dragon mother's throat, just like the cup-breaking signal of an ancient ambush. The next second, her huge dragon body rushed out directly, and her thick pillar-like hind legs moved, shaking the earth and mountains, and rushed towards the defenseless strange dragons with amazing momentum. Rumble the deafening footsteps of the dragon mother and the terrifying size of the dragon mother, which was 4 or 5 times larger than that of an adult strange dragon, instantly made the strange dragons explode, and they hurriedly broke up their formation and fled in all directions. But it was too late. The mother of dragons took a big step and caught up with the last adult strange dragon. The huge head swung violently and smashed the small body of the strange dragon with a force of thousands of pounds. Bang! The strange dragon was at least 400 or 500 kilograms in weight. It flew backwards like a tennis ball that was smashed. It rolled over and over on the rough ground for more than 10 times, dragging a deep gully until it hit a tree and broke the whole tree in half. Only then did it contain the terrible impact. The strange dragon lost most of its life because of this. It seemed to be shattered directly and collapsed on the ground and couldn't get up. At the same time, Chu Xu, who had been lying in ambush for a long time, did not stand idly by. He chose a target by himself and quickly moved his slender and powerful hind legs to chase it. The target Chu Xu chose was a sub-adult strange dragon, with a body length of more than 2 meters, similar to his body size, and the difficulty of hunting was not as high as that of an adult strange dragon. Meow meow! The sub-adult strange dragon screamed in panic while running desperately, but Chu Xu, who was faster than it, kept closing the distance in a short time. The sound of Chu Xu's approaching footsteps was as terrifying as a death warrant for it. The sub-adult strange dragon felt an invisible pressure from the little Tyrannosaurus Rex, which made it unable to restrain its breathing and muscle spasms, and its body was shaking while running. Bang! Take advantage of your illness to kill you. As soon as he approached the sub-adult strange dragon, Chu Xu suddenly opened his mouth and bit its hind thigh. Bite it to pieces. The rows of sharp teeth like steak knives pierced its muscles deeply under the increased bite force, touching the femur, and the hot blood instantly poured into his mouth, making Chu Xu feel very satisfied. Ouch! The sub-adult strange dragon howled in pain, and its forward charge suddenly stopped. The whole dragon body lost its balance and fell heavily to the ground. The other strange dragons around had already run away. No matter how the sub-adult strange dragon howled for help, no companion would come to save it. Chu Xu's actions were not dragged at all. His sharp eyes locked onto the neck of the sub-adult strange dragon, and he opened his upper and lower jaws again. His whole bloody mouth was like a vice, tightly locking and compressing its trachea, and his sharp teeth pierced its carotid artery. The sub-adult strange dragon struggled violently like a fish that was deprived of oxygen, but Chu Xu, who was always suppressing it, held it firmly. In the end, it could not hold on for long and died in hatred. Ling. You hunted a sub-adult strange dragon, evolution points plus 15. 15 evolution points, the same as the slender horned dragon hunted before. It is estimated that if it is an adult strange dragon, it will be worth more evolution points. After confirming that the sub-adult strange dragon was dead, Chu Xu slowly opened his mouth, but his nerves were still highly excited. Speaking of which, this should be Chu Xu's first complete hunt. The previous Tyrannosaurus was a tool dragon that Long Ma specially caught for the 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex to practice hunting. The fish caught by the river yesterday were not very challenging. It is still better to hunt these small and medium-sized dinosaurs to stimulate Chu Xu's predatory genes as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. After hunting the sub-adult strange dragon, Chu Xu looked around and found that he had been far away from Long Ma and the others because of the deep pursuit of prey. He still had to return to Long Ma as soon as possible, otherwise it would be troublesome if he encountered any enemies again. Chu Xu did not stay where he was to eat. He opened his mouth and bit the tail of the sub-adult strange dragon, dragging its body of at least 200 or 300 pounds back in the direction he came from. However, sometimes what you fear will come true. Before Chu Xu dragged the spoils a few steps, his telepathic perception spread over a kilometer and he detected the arrival of several uninvited guests. It's a group of Stygian raptors. There are 5 in total. Chu Xu let go, put down the heavy sub-adult strange dragon, turned his head, and looked at the group of Stygian raptors with a grim look. Stygian raptors are small carnivorous dinosaurs of the subfamily Velociraptor of the Dromaeosauridae family. They are about 2 meters long and less than 1 meter tall. They are covered with lush feathers and their forelimbs form a pair of plump wings. They look like a large turkey. However, as a carnivorous dinosaur of the Dromaeosauridae family, Stygian raptors are much more ferocious and dangerous than turkeys. They weigh only 40 to 50 kilograms and are agile. They have slender and delicate hind limbs adapted to fast running and jumping, and a strong and stiff tail that is enough to balance the body. Its most deadly weapon is not its fangs and serrations, but its claws on the front and back limbs, especially the sickle-shaped claw on the second toe of the hind limb, which is about 10 centimeters long and emits a chilling cold light like a foldable switchblade. Its claws are connected to ligaments, and the angle can be adjusted at will when attacking, so that the toes can be moved downward or forward to attack the prey with a maximum arc. When walking or running, they can also be retracted to avoid wear and tear due to friction with the ground. Facing this group of Styx raptors, Chu Xu really felt a lot of pressure. He didn't need to guess that they were targeting the sub-adult strange dragon that he had hunted with great effort. If it was a one-on-one fight, Chu Xu would naturally not be afraid. But there were 5 Styx raptors in the enemy, and they were obviously intelligent and knew how to fight together, so the threat would be doubled. So, should he choose to be a hero and not suffer a loss in front of him, and hand over the prey? Or should he choose to defend his prey and fight the enemy with his back to the wall? Chapter 16, Styx Raptor. Backcast. Please add to your collection and recommend. Roar. Almost without thinking, Chu Xu responded with an angry roar. This was not only a defense of his spoils, but also a warning to the group of Stygian raptors that were ready to move. The dignity of the king of dinosaurs is not something that anyone can offend. With Chu Xu's roar, the invisible oppression emanating from the overlord's resources swept towards the 5 Stygian raptors that surrounded him like a tidal wave. Hiss. The 5 Stygian raptors actually felt a chill at the same time, which seemed to be a fear from the depths of their genes. The Stygian raptors looked at each other, and they were all a little afraid to move forward, and even couldn't help but retreat. Good opportunity. As the saying goes, the first move wins, and the last move wins. After Chu Xu noticed the retreat of the Stygian raptors, his pair of vertical pupils suddenly burst into fierce light, and he rushed towards them first. With the acceleration skill, Chu Xu's burst speed doubled. The ground shook as he took a step, leaving a deep footprint, and the fierce smell rushed towards the Stygian raptors. Bang! The Stygian raptors barely had time to react before Chu Xu approached him. His dragon body, which was still charging, was like a bowling ball, crashing directly into 5 bowling pins. Crash! Only the 3 Stygian raptors that were behind him hastily avoided him. The other 2 Stygian raptors that were in front of him were hit by Chu Xu's doubled power and were thrown into the air. They drew 2 beautiful parabolas with different trajectories and flew nearly 10 meters away before falling heavily to the ground. Although the length and height of the Stygian raptors were similar to Chu Xu's, they were slender and weak, weighing only 40 to 50 kilograms, far less than Chu Xu, who weighed more than 300 kilograms. It was like the difference between a lightweight and a heavyweight boxer. With the advantage of weight, Not to mention Chu Xu's strength doubled, the two Stygian raptors' internal organs were displaced and ruptured, and a large amount of blood leaked out from their feathers. They were obviously dead. Hiss. Seeing that their two companions were killed so easily, the remaining three Stygian raptors who were lucky enough to survive were already scared and turned around and ran away quickly. If they had known that this little Tyrannosaurus Rex was so fierce and terrifying, they would not dare to offend him even if they had 100 courage. Want to run now? Too late. Chu Xu was in the mood of killing. Even though he had scared away 3 Stygian raptors, he had no intention of letting them go. He ran after them. The effect of the acceleration skill had not yet ended, and the slowest Stygian raptor was easily caught up by Chu Xu. Roar. Chu Xu's roar rang in the ears of the Styx raptor, scaring it so much that it almost stumbled and fell to the ground. Swish! Exclamation mark. The next second, Chu Xu's waving front claws arrived in an instant, aiming at the Styx raptor's raised tail and slamming down fiercely. With a few ripping sounds, Chu Xu's front claws swung out continuously, tearing the feathers and tendons of the Styx raptor's tail, penetrating into its tail vertebrae, and almost cutting its tail into several sections. The Styx raptor lost its balance and fell to the ground in pain, and then Chu Xu stepped on its head fiercely. Under the huge force, the 2 huge eyeballs of the Styx raptor bulged out and rolled a long way. After a set of combos, even if the Styx raptor didn't die, it was already half crippled. Even if Chu Xu didn't finish it off, it probably wouldn't live long. Chu Xu temporarily ignored the half-dead Styx raptor and turned around to chase the other 2 Styx raptors. Hiss. The 2 male and female Styx raptors seemed to be a couple. They did not flee separately when faced with a disaster. They knew that they had no hope of escaping, so they turned around and chose to fight to the death with Chu Xu. The fight of trapped beasts is often the most terrifying, but Chu Xu's eyes flashed fiercely, and he attacked without fear. At this time, the Styx raptor couple jumped up from the left and right and rushed straight towards Chu Xu. The best hunting skill of the carnivorous dinosaurs of the Dromaeosauridae family is this style of killing. They will jump onto the back of the prey, hook its body with the claws of their forelimbs, and kick its most vulnerable abdomen with the sickle-shaped claws of their hind limbs, directly and roughly disemboweling the prey, and wait for it to die from excessive blood loss. The couple of Styx raptors obviously wanted to deal with Chu Xu in the same way, but they didn't know that Chu Xu knew their little tricks very well and had already thought of a countermeasure before the battle. Hiss. The couple of Styx raptors had just pounced on Chu Xu's back, and before they could kick with their hind legs and claws, Chu Xu took a step back and leaned forward, using his own center of gravity as a support point, and used the principle of leverage to lift the couple of Styx raptors, whose bodies were only fixed by their front legs and their feet were in the air, up high. Whoosh! Exclamation mark. Chu Xu immediately swung his tail on the spot, causing his huge dragon body to rotate violently. The couple of Styx raptors screamed, and both were thrown off Chu Xu's back and fell to the ground. Chu Xu's move was derived from the ultimate move in judo, the back throw, which first made the enemy's center of gravity unbalanced, and then used his back as a fulcrum to throw the enemy out. Even if his strength was far less than that of the enemy, he could still achieve the effect of a small force moving a large force. Moreover, Chu Xu's strength was far superior to that of the couple, so it was effortless for him to throw them off his back. The fall also made the couple feel dizzy, and several of their ribs were broken. They couldn't get up for a while. Roar! Chu Xu roared again, and his bloody mouth bit the slender neck of the male Stygian dragon. The upper and lower jaws bit hard, and with a snap, it bit off its cervical vertebrae. Compared with the strange dragon with a short neck and thick skin, the neck of the Stygian dragon is much more fragile, like a bamboo pole that will break if crushed. After killing the male Stygian dragon, the remaining female Stygian dragon struggled desperately to stand up, but she was unable to do so. After witnessing the tragic scene of her husband being killed, she suddenly tilted her head and fainted. Chu Xu was of course merciless, and he also bit off the neck of the female Styx raptor in one clean bite, allowing her to be buried with her husband. In this way, the 5 Styx raptors that dared to attack were either dead or seriously injured. Chu Xu turned back and finished them off one by one, and then they all went to hell together. Ling. You hunted a Styx raptor, evolution points plus 20, Ling. You hunted a Styx raptor, evolution points plus 20. 5 system prompts sounded in succession, allowing Chu Xu to gain a full 100 evolution points at once. It seems that the evolution points gained from hunting carnivorous dinosaurs will be higher than those from herbivorous dinosaurs. Chu Xu discovered this. He originally thought that the evolution points worth a Styx raptor would be lower than those of a slender horned dragon or a subadult strange dragon, but he didn't expect it to be higher than them. Now, the evolution points required for the first evolution are complete. Chapter 17, First Evolution, Agumon. Bang, bang, bang. At this time, the sound of hurried and heavy footsteps came, and Chu Xu, who was looking for the sound, saw the mother of dragons running towards where he was. After all, her boss had been chasing the prey for so long and had not returned yet, so she couldn't help but feel a little worried, so she rushed over. Xianyu and Liuxing also ran over. As soon as they arrived at the scene, they saw the body of the subadult strange dragon, and there were 5 bodies of Stygian raptors lying around. Chu Xu had just piled the bodies of the 5 Stygian raptors together. At this time, the blood that was inadvertently stained on his body, coupled with the 5 bodies with different deaths and all miserable under his feet, was really full of visual impact, which made the mother of dragons and Xianyu Liuxing stare wide-eyed. Ra, the mother of dragons, who loved her son dearly, came to Chu Xu's side, lowered her big head, and checked if he was injured. Although the Stygian raptor was just a chick in her eyes, it was a terrible executioner for the underage Tyrannosaurus Rex, not to mention that there were 5 of them. Long Ma couldn't speak, but Chu Xu could feel her deep concern and worry, so he rubbed his head with her to show that he was fine. Long Ma didn't feel relieved until she checked that Chu Xu was unharmed. Xianyu and Liuxing, who were following behind, didn't know what kind of danger their eldest brother had experienced. They just saw so much fresh food on the ground and their mouths were watering. With so much food, Chu Xu naturally wouldn't be stingy, and he shared it with Long Ma, Xianyu, and Liuxing on the spot. Chu Xu tried the meat of the Stygian raptor, which he hadn't eaten before, but the Stygian raptor was not only covered with feathers, but also had only a few ounces of meat. As for the meat, it was too tough, sour, and greasy. It undoubtedly contained high cholesterol and fatty acids, and was far inferior to the meat of the strange dragon in terms of taste and nutrition. Not to mention that the Stygian raptor, a carnivorous dinosaur, had accumulated too many toxins in its body due to the enrichment effect of the food chain. Therefore, unless there was a shortage of food and they were starving, carnivorous dinosaurs would not eat the meat of other carnivorous dinosaurs, and the priority was always herbivorous dinosaurs. After eating and drinking, Chu Xu's family returned home with a full load. Long Ma held the adult body of the strange dragon she hunted, Chu Xu held the subadult body of the strange dragon he hunted, and asked the freeloaders Xianyu and Liuxing to bring back a Stygian raptor each. After all, no one can guarantee whether the next hunt will be as smooth as today, so it is always right to store more spare food. That night, the bright moon rose to the center of the night sky, and the scales of the fish that occasionally swam in the river reflected the color of the moonlight, making the entire river surface flow with a faint cold light. At night, medium and large dinosaurs usually rested, leaving only nocturnal small dinosaurs and mammals rustling through the forest, using their night vision to look for insects and lizards. Not far away, Long Ma and Crescent Moon Liuxing had already fallen asleep, and Chu Xu quietly came to the riverbank to prevent the next movement from disturbing them. Opening the system's property panel, the evolution point column has accumulated more than 120 points. Start evolving. Chu Xu thought, spent 100 evolution points, and couldn't wait to start his first evolution. At this time, it should be accompanied by a song Braveheart, plus the iconic circle action. Spend 100 evolution points, evolution officially begins. As the system prompt sounded, Chu Xu suddenly felt that his body had turned into a volcano about to erupt, as if boiling hot magma was filing his limbs, bones, and internal organs, bringing great pain. Roar. Chu Xu had to grit his teeth and let out an uncontrollable low roar from the depths of his throat, and his body began to tremble violently. Cell tissues were proliferating and dividing, and muscles and bones were tearing and stretching. In a short period of time, Chu Xu's body had undergone considerable changes. The huge dragon body was like a sponge filled with water, and began to expand at a speed visible to the naked eye. From the head and neck to the shoulders and back to the limbs and tail, it was growing. The final body length exceeded 2.5 meters, and the head height reached 1.2 meters. The weight at least doubled, soaring to 700 to 800 kilograms. The fine hair on the surface of the body was completely faded, and the hard scales and strong muscles were like copper and iron castings, which made it more and more majestic and sturdy, bringing a full sense of oppression. Especially the pair of short forelimbs also stretched, and changed from 2 fingers to 3 fingers, which can be said to be a complete transformation, with a length of more than half a meter. The already sharp claws are even sharper, curved like a sickle, with an outer arc of more than 10 centimeters, and the outer layer of keratin is coated with a metallic luster, just like a newly sharp blade. Even the sharp teeth on the bloody gums have changed accordingly. The overall banana shape has become larger, the tooth roots have become wider, and the edge serrations have become denser, just like a sharp barb. When the serrations pierce the muscles, the barbs can hook the fibers of the meat and lock them between the serrations, like a meat grinder. However, what surprised Chu Xu the most was the changes in his internal organs. It seemed that a raging fire had ignited from his body, rushing from his lungs to his throat, and was about to burst out. Huh? The next second, Chu Xu suddenly opened his mouth wide and spewed out more basketball-sized flame from the depths of his throat. The flames emitted a scorching heat, dragging out a dazzling red flame tail, and finally landed in a bush on the river bank, igniting it in an instant. The dazzling flames illuminated the surrounding environment. Fire. Chu Xu was pleasantly surprised. There was no doubt that this was Agumon skill, a small flame. The use of fire was an epoch-making innovation in the long history of biological evolution, and this was the patent of ancient humans. Fire brought cooked food, light and warmth to ancient humans, greatly accelerating the pace of ancient human evolution. Artificial fire-making also marked that ancient humans had mastered the power to change the material world, making a major leap in human civilization, and giving them strong capital to face those huge and ferocious wild animals. But that was tens of millions of years later. In the late Cretaceous period, mammals had just emerged, not to mention ancient humans, who didn't even have a shadow. Chu Xu couldn't imagine how huge a dimensionality reduction blow would be to these ancient creatures in the late Cretaceous after he mastered the use of fire. So terrifying. It was unknown how long it had passed before Chu Xu's first evolution came to an end. Everything was settled. Open my attribute panel. A new set of data information came into Chu Xu's eyes. Name, Chu Xu. Age, 6 months. Race, Agumon. Male. Growth stage, juvenile. 4-dimensional attributes, strength 150, agility 150, constitution 170, spirit 160, evolution points 22, skills, scratching, biting, rhyming, acceleration, special move, small flame, achievements, Tyrannosaurus Rex, elementary, telepathic perception, elementary, fluid armament, elementary, next evolutionary form, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Chapter 18, Liquid Armor. Ostrich-like dragon. Please add this to your collection and recommend. After the evolution, Chu Xu is no longer an ordinary Tyrannosaurus Rex, but an Agumon. Unlike the petite Agumon in the animation, Chu Xu still retains most of the previous Tyrannosaurus Rex morphological characteristics, but on this basis, the forelimbs, claws and other parts have undergone partial strengthening. Moreover, Chu Xu's growth stage has also reached adolescence from infancy, and he has finally escaped from the weakest and most dangerous period, and is enough to stand on his own. Under normal circumstances, the infancy of Tyrannosaurus Rex is 0 to 4 years old, and the adolescence is 5 to 14 years old. During this period, the growth rate of Tyrannosaurus Rex is very slow, and the weight of Tyrannosaurus Rex at the end of the adolescence will not exceed 2 tons. After the age of 14, Tyrannosaurus Rex enters adolescence and ushered in the golden period of wild growth. The adolescence period is 14 to 18 years old. In this short period of 4 or 5 years, the weight of Tyrannosaurus Rex can increase by 4 to 5 kgs every day, and it can increase by nearly 1 ton in a year. So when the adolescence is over, the weight of Tyrannosaurus Rex is enough to reach 6 to 8 tons, reaching the peak, and a few extreme individuals can even reach more than 10 tons. Although Chu Xu is only half a year old now, with a blessing of attribute points, his physical development is comparable to that of a 5-year-old juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex. You have successfully completed the first evolution and obtained the golden achievement, Fluid Armament, Primary. Fluid Armament, Primary, Golden Achievement, Upgradable, solidify the special fluid tract on itself, which can be wrapped and hardened to improve its own defense. Like invisible armor, it can also flow outward to improve its own attack power, enhance lethality and power. Another new achievement. Chu Xu was overjoyed. With the talent of a king, telepathic perception and the newly acquired fluid armament, he can attack and defend, sense and shock, and the effect is almighty. Invincible. Digesting the enhancement and transformation brought by this evolution, Chu Xu was full of confidence, and had the urge to punch the wind god pterosaur and kick the Mosasaur. Of course, Chu Xu calmed down not long after. He still couldn't be too arrogant. He was far from being invincible. In the Hell Creek Formation of the late Cretaceous, there were many ferocious and terrifying predators. There were Tyrannosaurus Rex, dwarf Tyrannosaurus, and Decadoraptor on land, Quetzalcoatlus in the sky, crocodiles in rivers and lakes, and sharks in the inland seas and oceans. Chu Xu continued to grow slowly and step by step. He believed that the day when he dominated the late Cretaceous was not far away. After waking up, when Long Ma, Xian Yu, and Liu Xing saw the evolved Chu Xu, they felt that he seemed to have some strange changes, but they didn't care. After all, Chu Xu was still Chu Xu. The familiar smell on his body had not changed, and his limited IQ did not allow them to think more deeply. The prey harvested from hunting yesterday was enough for Chu Xu's family to eat for several days, so Long Ma had no plan to go out hunting that day. She stayed at home and slept lazily. The energetic Xian Yu and Liu Xing were also playing and fighting at home, practicing their fighting and hunting skills. Roar at this time, Chu Xu let out a roar with special meaning to Long Ma. What he wanted to express was also very simple. He wanted to go out hunting alone. During this period of time, Chu Xu had completely mastered the hunting skills and experience taught by Long Ma. In addition, his combat power was greatly improved after evolution. Chu Xu believed that he could complete the hunting independently and had enough self-protection ability. Even if he encountered an unmatched opponent, it would not be a problem to escape. Always following Long Ma's ass and relying on her power, he could not really grow up after all. Perhaps in the near future, Chu Xu would leave Long Ma and start living independently, so he also planned to exercise his ability to survive alone. In this regard, Long Ma instinctively wanted to stop him, but she agreed under Chu Xu's insistence, watching the increasingly strange and unfamiliar figure of her eldest brother go away and gradually disappear in the dense forest vegetation. Seeing that his eldest brother was going out to play, Liu Xing also wanted to follow him, but was tripped by Long Ma's unceremoniously swinging his tail, and could only stay at home with grievances. Horizontal ellipsis. Without the dragon mother to escort him, and without the crescent moon Liu Xing to make trouble, Chu Xu walked alone in the lush larch forest. Within the range of telepathic perception, Chu Xu found that there were many more animals around him than before. Sure enough, because of the dragon mother's presence, the surrounding animals were scared to death when they saw the terrifying size of the adult Tyrannosaurus Rex. How could they dare to stay nearby? Chu Xu's size was far less exaggerated and huge than that of the dragon mother, so even if the surrounding animals found him, they did not panic and flee. This must be a good thing for Chu Xu. Chu Xu pretended to be harmless and did not offend anyone, while paying attention to the actions of the surrounding animals. On the towering treetops, there was a Basaurus lurking. This is a primitive bird belonging to the Saurischia class, the Enantiornithine subclass. Its ecological niche is like that of later raptors, preying on insects, small amphibians and mammals. Suddenly, a small mammal that looked like a groundhog popped its head out of the underground cave and looked around to see if there was any danger. This was a cirrus, a distant relative of the cirrus, belonging to the order Palaeocidin, with a pair of special eye incisors like rodents. However, the latter was a fierce predator that could prey on small dinosaurs, while the cirrus was only a herbivore and could become food for other predators at any time. After confirming that there was no danger, the cirrus carefully emerged from the cave, followed by several chubby little cirrus, who began to look for food in the surrounding bushes. Swish! At this moment, the Biosaurus, which had been paying attention to the group of cirrus for a long time, opened its wings and flew down swiftly. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The adult cirrus sensed the approaching danger, and the alarm bells rang loudly, and they hurriedly made a rapid cry. The little cirrus heard their mother's alarm and hurriedly fled back to the cave. However, one greedy little new moon beast was too far from the cave. The other brothers and sisters all escaped home safely, but it was a step slower. The target of the Bisbird dragon bird was also this little new moon beast. It swooped down and grabbed it accurately with its thorny claws. No matter how the little new moon beast struggled, it could not escape the palm of Bisbird dragon bird. However, before Bisbird dragon bird had time to enjoy the delicious food it had just captured, another burst of hurried footsteps suddenly sounded, and three swift-footed ostrich-like dragons ran towards Bisbird dragon bird, scaring the latter to let go of the little new moon beast and fled in panic. What, a mantis stalking a cicada? The oriole is behind. Goo goo. After scaring Bai's bird away, the ostrich-like dragons made a hoarse cry with pride, but the poor little new moon beast just escaped from the tiger's mouth and fell into the wolf's den, and was torn into pieces and swallowed by 3 ostrich-like dragons. Struthiomimus, a medium-sized omnivorous dinosaur of the genus Struthiomimus of the family Ornithomimidae, is nearly 4 meters long and weighs about 300 kilograms. As the name suggests, its appearance has many similarities with that of an ostrich. It has a small, triangular head, degenerate teeth, and is replaced by a bird's horny beak. It has a slender and flexible neck, a light body, and is covered with feathers. Its tibia is much longer than its femur. Its slender and stiff tail can maintain its balance well. It runs like the wind, and can even reach a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. It is undoubtedly the running champion among the creatures of the Hell Creek Formation of the late Cretaceous. The target is found. Chu Xu, who discovered the traces of the 3 Struthiomimus not far away, had his eyes light up, and he tiptoed towards their location. Horizontal ellipsis. Chapter 19, Grilled Dinosaur Meat? Wetland Grassland. Chu Xu did not choose to launch an attack rashly. The ostrich-like dragons were very alert and ran very fast. Even if he used the acceleration skill, he could only catch one of them at most. If he wanted to catch all 3 ostrich-like dragons in one fell swoop, he needed to use some human wisdom. Chu Xu quietly went around from the side to the road where the ostrich-like dragons had just run, and picked up several flexible and slender vine rhizomes from the surrounding vegetation. Using the rhizomes, Chu Xu pulled up several consecutive tripwires on the trunks of 2 adjacent trees. Since the original pair of short forelimbs became longer, Chu Xu could use his forelimbs to complete more flexible movements. Even tying a simple knot was no problem. With these tripwires, it would be easy to catch all 3 ostrich-like dragons in one fell swoop. Roar. Everything was ready, only the east wind was missing. Chu Xu did not hide his figure at all, and deliberately roared, and took a big step towards the 3 ostrich-like dragons that were feasting. Goo goo. The 3 ostrich-like dragons reacted quickly. After discovering Chu Xu, they swung their 2 flying legs without hesitation and ran in the opposite direction at an astonishing speed. The direction they fled was exactly the direction where Chu Xu set up the tripwire. Chu Xu also chased the 3 ostrich-like dragons relentlessly, constantly roaring to intimidate them, so that the panicked ostrich-like dragons did not notice the abnormality on the road ahead. Bang! Suddenly, the leading ostrich-like dragon hit the first tripwire, and the entire rhizome broke due to the impact. The ostrich-like dragon lost its balance due to inertia and fell to the ground headfirst, falling straight to the ground. Bang! Bang! Then, there were 2 consecutive dull landing sounds. The other 2 ostrich-like dragons noticed the strangeness, but they had no time to brake, and also triggered 2 tripwires in succession, and fell hard. At this time, Chu Xu, who was following closely behind, had also arrived. Liquid weapons. Chu Xu first extended his slender forelimbs, and a special liquid energy instantly wrapped the claw blade inside, giving it a sharper killing power. The next second, Chu Xu's claws were as fast as lightning, tearing through the air, and in an instant, a deep scratch was left on the neck of an ostrich-like dragon. Puff! The carotid artery and cervical vertebrae of the ostrich-like dragon were torn apart by Chu Xu, and a head soared into the sky, blood gushed out like a fountain, and the whole headless corpse naturally had no strength to climb up, and completely collapsed to the ground. Life was gone. Chu Xu turned around and aimed at the neck of the second ostrich-like dragon, and bit down again. The special fluid energy was then attached to his sharp teeth. The explosive bite force and the violent twisting of the short neck caused the cervical vertebrae to be twisted and broken, and bent into a strange arc. The whole head was also easily torn off like cotton candy. The scene was bloody and shocking. So strong. Chu Xu was pleasantly surprised when he first experienced the power of the fluid weapon. The lethality of his claws and teeth was greatly enhanced by the blessing of the fluid weapon energy. Tearing the flesh and even the bones was as smooth as a hot knife cutting butter. Goo goo. When Chu Xu violently killed 2 ostrich-like dragons, the third ostrich-like dragon had barely climbed up. Seeing the miserable death of its 2 companions, the ostrich-like dragon dared not stay there. It only regretted that its parents had given it 2 less legs, and desperately wanted to escape from this terrible little Tyrannosaurus. Chu Xu did not continue to chase, but stood in place, tightly shutting his mouth, but wisps of white smoke could still be seen coming out from the gap between his lips. Small flame. Huh? After brewing, Chu Xu opened his blood basin, and a ball of hot flames gushed out from the depths of his throat, whistling through the air and landing on the fleeing ostrich-like dragon at an even faster speed. Goo goo. The flames fell on the ostrich-like dragon and ignited its feathers. The fire intensified and burned fiercely, spreading from the hips to the head, completely turning it into a fire dragon. The ostrich-like dragon was burned by the high-temperature flames and wailed continuously. It fell to the ground and kept rolling, instinctively trying to put out the fire, but to no avail. Not long after, the ostrich-like dragon stopped moving and wailing, leaving only the crackling sound of the flames still burning. Ling. You hunted a ostrich-like dragon, evolution points plus 20. Ling. You hunted a ostrich-like dragon, evolution points plus 20. Ling. You hunted a ostrich-like dragon, evolution points plus 20. 3 ostrich-like dragons brought Chu Xu another 60 evolution points, which was not bad. Next, Chu Xu used his feet to dig up layers of soil and covered the ostrich-like dragon, and then gradually extinguished the flames. After the flames were extinguished, the feathers of the ostrich-like dragon were burned, and the skin and flesh underneath were cooked, sizzling with hot steam. Roasted dinosaur meat? Exclamation mark. Chu Xu smelled the aroma coming towards him, and his appetite was aroused. He immediately opened his mouth to taste it. Ling. You ate ostrich-like dragon meat, evolution points plus 0.1. It must be said that cooked meat is much better than raw meat in terms of taste and texture. Chu Xu's teeth and cheeks were fragrant and he had an endless aftertaste. But Chu Xu also knew that it was okay to eat cooked meat once or twice occasionally, but if you eat cooked meat for every meal, it would be harmful to your body. Although cooked meat is easier to absorb after being roasted at high temperature and will kill parasites and bacteria in raw meat, it destroys the vitamins contained in it, causing a large loss of nutrients. If this continues, it will inevitably endanger health. Moreover, long-term consumption of cooked meat will also cause the original digestive system of wild animals to degenerate. When eating raw meat in the future, it may not be digested and will be more susceptible to diseases. Therefore, Chu Xu did not plan to only eat cooked meat in the future. It would be more appropriate to follow the original living habits of wild animals. After eating and drinking, Chu Xu dug a big pit on the spot, buried the remaining bodies of the ostrich-like dragons that had not been eaten, and then urinated around the soil as a mark, and took them back when he went home to avoid waste. Keep going forward. Chu Xu's goal this time is to pass through this large forest and explore what the world outside the forest is like. The closer you go to the outskirts of the forest, the sparser the vegetation and the more humid the air. More than an hour later, Chu Xu finally walked out of the large forest, and what came into view in front of him was a more vast wetland grassland. Under the blue sky and white clouds, the water is clear and the sky is blue, and the grass is endless. The river is like a silver jade belt flowing through the grassland in a winding way. Due to the straightening of the meandering river, many oxbow lakes are formed on it. Various flowering plants are vying for beauty: water lilies, cattails, roses, silver hazel, and bees, butterflies and other insects are busy moving among them, spreading pollen. Although they seem small, they are in this mighty Cretaceous land revolution and play an important role. As for the creatures living in this area, they are even more prosperous. There are flocks of curious styx geese in the shallow water, river birds and their cubs are floating on the river, turtles are crawling on the shore, crocodiles are lying on the swamp to bask in the sun. Chapter 20: The Strongest Spear and the Strongest Shield. Goodbye, Dragon Dad. Chu Xu was amazed and felt as if he had entered a new world. The most numerous dinosaur here was the enemy of Tyrannosaurus Rex, Triceratops. Triceratops and Edmontosaurus are both large herbivorous dinosaurs of the Hell Creek Formation. In general, in order to avoid competition for food, they would consciously stagger their habitats. The Edmontosaurus herd usually appeared in mountain forests with dense vegetation and a large number of large trees, while the Triceratops herd mainly lived in wetland grasslands with humid climate and low vegetation. As for other small and medium-sized herbivorous dinosaurs, because of their smaller population size, their habitats were more extensive. Chu Xu soon found traces of a Triceratops herd. Triceratops is a typical social dinosaur, often with more than a dozen Triceratops gathering together to form a family group. Each family group is led by the strongest male Triceratops, who leads the Triceratops herd and enjoys priority in food and mating rights. In front of this Triceratops family group, there are more than 10 adult Triceratops leading several small Triceratops to forage everywhere. They use their pair of thick brow horns to press down palms, cycads and other plants, and their beak-shaped mouths cut green leaves and branches short like scissors, swallow them into their mouths, and chew them slowly. The body length of an adult Triceratops can reach 9 meters, the height is 2.5 meters, and the tonnage is more than 5 tons. It is still a behemoth for Chu Xu now. Not to mention that Triceratops also has top-level luxury equipment. The first is the iconic triangle, that is, a short nose horn above the nostrils, and 2 thick brow horns above the eyes, which can be called the strongest spear. The structure of this horn is similar to the horns of most bovine animals in later generations. The inner part of the horn is supported by bones, and on the outside of this layer of bones, there are layers of keratin sheaths, which make the horn actually grow much longer than the bone part. Secondly, there is a huge neck shield formed by the backward extension of the parietal and yoke bones of the skull. It is solid with the bones and is also covered with a keratinous sheath, like wearing a bone mask helmet. It is extremely hard and can be called the strongest shield. Finally, there is a rough and thick scale armor, which is composed of countless polygonal scales. There are also thorn-like bristles growing on the buttocks and tail, which are straight and thick black-brown, and it looks impossible to bite. The Triceratops, which combines the strongest spear and the strongest shield, is undoubtedly the pinnacle of the evolution of the ceratopsian dinosaurs. It often staged a hunting tug-of-war between life and death with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is also the pinnacle of the evolution of the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the late Cretaceous. The Triceratops group just strolled and fed leisurely, and seemed to not care much about the slightest disturbance in the surrounding environment. Even if they saw any predatory dinosaurs, they turned a blind eye. This is a manifestation of strength and confidence. Generally, small and medium-sized predatory dinosaurs dare not defend them at all. In the Hell Creek Formation, basically only Tyrannosaurus Rex dared to attack them. Chu Xu just stood in the distance and secretly observed for a while, then retracted his gaze. Triceratops were not yet prey that he could hunt, not to mention adult Triceratops, and young Triceratops were often well protected in the core position of the tribe, making it difficult to find opportunities. Boom! Boom! At this moment, Chu Xu heard a thunderous heavy footsteps from farther away, and the ground was shaking like a drum. Chu Xu looked in the direction of the sound and soon saw a huge adult male Tyrannosaurus Rex running towards him, targeting the Triceratops group. Is that Dragon Dad? Chu Xu was slightly stunned, and was surprised to recognize that this adult male Tyrannosaurus Rex was the Dragon Dad he had not seen for a long time. The last time he saw Dragon Dad was the last time, and Chu Xu could not remember how long it had been. Anyway, since the 3 little Tyrannosaurus Rex grew up, Dragon Dad rarely came back to visit them. This was not surprising. After all, it was spring again, everything was revived, and it was the breeding season for animals, and the air in the mountains and forest was filled with the smell of hormones. The breeding season for adult Tyrannosaurus Rex is also in the vibrant spring. Because the mother dragon is still in the period of raising her young, she will not be in heat and will only focus on her role as a mother. However, as a male Tyrannosaurus Rex, the father dragon does not have any period of raising young. Chu Xu would not be surprised if he hooked up with a female Tyrannosaurus Rex one day. So this is the father dragon's territory. Chu Xu suddenly realized that the large forest should belong to the mother dragon's territory, and this vast wetland grassland belongs to the father dragon's territory. Of course, they would not divide it so carefully. There must be overlap between their territories. This is the reason why there can't be 2 dragons on one mountain, unless there is 1 female and 1 male. Is the father dragon going to hunt the Triceratops? Chu Xu couldn't help but become interested and wanted to watch the rare scene of the Tyrannosaurus Rex hunting the Triceratops. Moo. At the same time, when the leader of the Triceratops found the father dragon's attack, he let out a short and loud roar. In an instant, all the Triceratops reacted. Their first reaction was not to turn around and run away in panic like the Edmontosaurus or the strange dragon. Instead, they quickly gathered together like the African wild buffalo herds of later generations, forming a semicircular defensive formation. The young Triceratops were protected inside the defensive formation, while the heads of the adult Triceratops were unanimously facing outward to defend against the enemy, forming an airtight copper wall. They lowered their heads, held up their huge horns, and their neck shields full of capillaries turned blood red under the infiltration of blood. Their columnar limbs and heavy feet kept trampling on the ground, making a huge noise and raising a cloud of dust. Such a battle made Dragon Dad feel a little daunted. He did not dare to launch an attack rashly, but wandered outside the defensive formation of the Triceratops group, trying to find a flaw in it. Soon, Dragon Dad aimed at a smaller female Triceratops, stepped forward suddenly, and opened his bloody mouth from a high position and bit down. The female Triceratops's neck shield was bitten hard by the Dragon Father. The bite force of the Dragon Father's upper and lower jaws and the tearing of the thick banana teeth made the hard-bone neck shield a little overwhelmed and broke. However, at this time, the support of other adult Triceratops also came over. They swung their huge heads and waved the 3 shining giant horns on their heads, pressing towards the Dragon Father. The Dragon Father had to temporarily avoid the sharp edge, loosen his big mouth, and retreat quickly. After temporarily repelling the Dragon Father, the Triceratops did not continue to pursue, but still maintained a defensive momentum and confronted the Dragon Father. The Dragon Father launched attacks again and again, but they were all repelled by the Triceratops working together, and it was difficult to break through their defensive formation. Continuing the stalemate would only be a waste of energy. Although the Dragon Father was a little unwilling, he had no choice but to evacuate. Moo. At this moment, something unexpected happened to the Dragon Father and the adult Triceratops. However, a little Tyrannosaurus Rex appeared from behind the Triceratops, which was not on guard, and attacked the young Triceratops, who were still unaware of the danger, at an astonishing speed. Bang! One of the still petite young Triceratops was violently pounced on the ground by the little Tyrannosaurus Rex. The moment the big mouth bit its neck shield, the neck shield was violently bitten to pieces. The sharp teeth pierced deeply into its artery and trachea. Blood flowed from the corners of its mouth to the ground, and it was full of blood. Chapter 21 Love and Hate, Coevolution. Please collect and recommend. This little Tyrannosaurus Rex was none other than Chu Xu, who had been secretly observing. He also discovered that although the defensive formation of the Triceratops group was very powerful and enough to withstand the frontal attack of the adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, it also had a fatal weakness. That is, there was no defense at the rear. Originally, Chu Xu did not intend to wade into this muddy water, but the direction he was in was just the empty rear of the Triceratops group. Because the father dragon attracted the attention of all the adult Triceratops in front, the several young Triceratops at the rear were completely exposed to him. Opportunities are rare, and in order to repay the kindness of the father dragon who occasionally sent food in the past, Chu Xu planned to sacrifice his life to accompany the gentleman. Chu Xu chose a young Triceratops with a body length of less than 1 meter. Its neck shield shattered under his armed sharp teeth and fierce bite, and it was vulnerable. The neck below was also bitten through by Chu Xu effortlessly, killing it on the spot. Moo. It was not until they heard the wailing of the young Triceratops before dying that the adult Triceratops who were trying to resist the Dragon Father in front reacted. They never thought that the enemy would use such a trick to attract their attention by having the adult Tyrannosaurus Rex in front, and then a small Tyrannosaurus Rex would sneak attack from behind. It was not a martial arts ethics. Little did they know that the Dragon Father was also confused when he saw this scene. At first glance, he did not recognize the huge change of Chu Xu at all. Then he smelled the familiar smell on Chu Xu and reacted. Moo. The female Triceratops that was bitten by the Dragon Father made an angry moo. She was the mother of the young Triceratops. After seeing her child die tragically in the mouth of Chu Xu, she turned around and rushed towards Chu Xu without caring about the integrity of the defensive formation. The 2 thick and sharp eyebrows on the top of the female Triceratops exuded a deadly cold light. If you were hit by it accidentally, the consequences would be disastrous. In fact, generally speaking, Triceratops would not charge forward with huge horns like the rhinoceros of later generations. Their skulls and horns could not withstand 2 violent impacts, and they would often kill 1,000 enemies but lose 800 of their own. However, at this time, the female Triceratops, immersed in the pain of losing her child, had already lost her mind. Her huge body seemed to be a large truck out of control, crushing Chu Xu. In response, Chu Xu staged a Cretaceous version of a bullfight. When the female Triceratops rushed forward fiercely without thinking, he put down the body of the young Triceratops and dodged sideways with agility, which immediately made her miss. While the clumsy female Triceratops turned her head and twisted her body, Chu Xu suddenly stretched out his claws, and the fluid energy was attached to the claw blade. In an instant, the female Triceratops's bucket-thick right hind leg was torn into 7 or 8 crisscross cracks. The scales of the female Triceratops were hard and rough. Although the wounds torn by Chu Xu's front claws were not deep, they were still dripping with blood, and the blood red gradually permeated her entire hind legs. Moo! The female Triceratops howled in pain, but this injury was not fatal to her. She quickly turned around, swung her giant horns back, and hit Chu Xu hard, trying to give him a fatal blow. Seeing this, Chu Xu still stepped back nimbly to avoid it, and the female Triceratops snorted repeatedly in anger, and her congested neck shield was red and ferocious. Roar! At this moment, seeing that there was a gap in the defense formation of the Triceratops group, the father dragon, who had originally planned to give up, seized the opportunity and made a surprise attack, breaking into their formation in one fell swoop. The young Triceratops fled in panic because of Chu Xu's attack, and the adult Triceratops also fell into panic because of the father dragon's sudden entry, and the formation was in chaos. At this time, they could no longer care about stopping Longdad. They prioritized the safety of themselves and their children, and tried to stay away from the 2 Tyrannosaurus Rex as much as possible. Longdad's target was not the young Triceratops, but the female Triceratops that was fighting with Chu Xu. He locked his cold vertical pupils tightly on the female Triceratops, and a strong smell of a killing rose up, showing the wildness and dominance of the king of dinosaurs. The field of vision behind the female Triceratops was blocked by the huge neck shield on the head and neck, which was the most fatal blind spot of the Triceratops. Longdad, who came from behind the female Triceratops, bit her right hind leg that had been scratched by Chu Xu. Compared with Chu Xu's claws, Longdad's bloody mouth was undoubtedly more terrifying. One bite made the hard and thick scales and skin of the female Triceratops bit through, tearing off a large piece of flesh and blood, and the jagged white bones were visible. Moo! The intense pain made the female Triceratops scream miserably. The bloody right hind leg was dripping with blood, and she almost lost consciousness. Crack! The action of the dragon father was very quick. Then, the big mouth full of blood bit the broken neck shield of the female Triceratops like a trap. This time, the neck shield of the female Triceratops could no longer withstand the powerful bite force of the dragon father. The banana teeth directly bit through and pierced deeply into the neck muscles. While biting the neck of the female Triceratops, the dragon father also pushed her heavy body hard, like a bulldozer trying to overturn the female Triceratops to the ground. With the dragon father as the main attacker, Chu Xu no longer needed to be a bullfighter. He also used a fierce collision to muster all his strength and cooperate with the dragon father to push the female Triceratops. Bang! The female Triceratops had lost its support point on one side due to the injury of her right hind leg, and her center of gravity was a little unstable. Under the combined force of Longdad and Chu Xu, her huge body weighing more than 4 tons was shaken and rolled over amazingly, falling to the ground like a golden mountain or a jade pillar. This rollover basically sentenced the female Triceratops to death, and she became a fish on the chopping board for Longdad and Chu Xu to slaughter. Moo! The rest of the adult Triceratops had almost stabilized again at this time. The female Triceratops protected the surviving young Triceratops, and the male Triceratops let out a series of low howls, trying to rescue the fallen female Triceratops. Roar! But Longdad raised his head and frightened the group of male Triceratops who were ready to move with a shocking roar, so that they did not dare to take the initiative to fend, but instead retreated in fear. This is the fear that comes from deep in the genes of Triceratops. Starting from the Psittacosaurus, the ancestor of ceratopsians that lived in the early Cretaceous, the ceratopsians have always lived in the shadow of the Tyrannosaurus. Not only limited to the Hell Creek Formation in North America, in every corner and every period of the Cretaceous world, the love-hate relationship between the ceratopsians and the Tyrannosaurus was staged, such as the Hutching ceratopsians and Hutching Tyrannosaurus in the Singers-Huang Formation in Asia, the Styracosaurus and Splitosaurus in the Dinosaur Park Formation in North America, and the Pachyrhinosaurus and Whitebearsaurus in the Prince Creek Formation in North America. The two enemies, the ceratopsians and the Tyrannosaurus, have always been inseparable since their birth. They evolved together in a life-and-death competition, with one side strengthening its defense and the other side continuing to attack, becoming the two most prosperous dinosaur populations in the long Cretaceous period. Horizontal ellipsis. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22. There can't be two dragons in one mountain, unless one is female and one is male. The tribesman stood by and watched, causing the female Triceratops, who was lying on the ground and unable to get up, to howl in despair. However, facing the prey he had worked so hard to obtain, Long Dad would not be soft-hearted. He once again violently bit the female Triceratops' neck with his bloody mouth, tore open her abdomen with his claws, and continued to bleed her. Before he knew it, the ground was already a river of blood. The female Triceratops, who had lost too much blood, was no longer able to resist. She resigned herself to her fate and remained motionless, waiting for death to come. It must be said that the vitality of this female Triceratops was also strong. After more than half an hour, she was completely silent. Her huge and heavy head fell to the ground crookedly and could no longer be lifted. As for the other Triceratops, they had already protected the young Triceratops in the family group and evacuated. Only Long Dad and Chu Xu were left at the scene filled with the smell of blood. Although other carnivorous dinosaurs smelled a strong smell of blood, they did not dare to approach after discovering the two Tyrannosaurus Rex, hoping that they could get a share of the leftovers after they had enjoyed their prey. Ling. You hunted a young Triceratops, evolution points plus 15, Ling. You participated in hunting an adult Triceratops, evolution points plus 50. Two consecutive system prompts sounded in Chu Xu's ears. The evolution points provided by a young Triceratops are still relatively few, but the value of an adult Triceratops is high. Chu Xu earned a full 50 evolution points just by assisting Dragon Dad. If he hunted an adult Triceratops alone, the evolution points would probably double. After killing the female Triceratops, Dragon Dad did not rush to eat it, but instead issued a rather friendly inquiring roar to Chu Xu, asking him why he came here. Chu Xu breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, when facing Long Dad, he secretly maintained a high level of vigilance. After all, he could not guarantee that Long Dad would recognize him. Even if Long Dad recognized him, he would probably show aggressiveness, so he had to be on guard. Chu Xu might not be a match for an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it was not a problem for him to escape. Fortunately, Long Dad did not show any hostility. It seemed that he was indeed a model husband and father among Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he would not turn his face against the dragon. Chu Xu responded quickly, saying that he was just out hunting and passing by here. Long Dad snorted, as if to express his gratitude to Chu Xu, but did not communicate with him much. He opened his mouth and bit the thick and long tail of the female Triceratops, dragging its heavy body away in a certain direction. This made Chu Xu feel a little strange. Long Dad spent so much effort to hunt this female Triceratops, but he did not seem to have any intention of eating it. Instead, he dragged her away with great effort. Was it to take her home for storage, or for something else? Chu Xu curiously held the young Triceratops he hunted in his mouth and followed secretly. The noise made by Longba dragging the female Triceratops was not small, and countless birds and beasts were startled along the way. But he didn't care. He patrolled his territory with a proud and arrogant attitude until he came to the edge of the territory. Roar. At this time, the roar of a Tyrannosaurus Rex suddenly sounded in the distance, shaking the earth and resounding through the sky. Chu Xu determined that it was a female Tyrannosaurus Rex. Hearing the roar of this female Tyrannosaurus Rex, Longba couldn't help but speed up his pace and dragged the body of the female Triceratops to follow the sound. Good guy. Chu Xu finally understood that the reason why Longba hunted this female Triceratops was to show his courtesy to another female Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is the breeding season for Tyrannosaurus Rex. Long Dad probably fell in love with a young and strong female Tyrannosaurus Rex. In order to successfully court a mate, he hunted this extremely difficult female Triceratops and presented it to the other party to prove his ability. Chu Xu was not moved at all and even wanted to laugh. Although Long Dad was indeed his biological father, Long Dad actually had no relationship with Long Mom after mating. So it was normal for Long Dad to pursue other female Tyrannosaurus Rex that had not yet given birth in another breeding season. Soon, Chu Xu saw the female Tyrannosaurus Rex through telepathy. From the size, it was slightly smaller than Long Mom, but younger, and should have just reached adulthood. Long Dad placed the female Triceratops in front of the female Tyrannosaurus Rex and roared mightily, as if bragging to the other party how powerful he was and how he could get the head of this female Triceratops from among thousands of dragons. Chu Xu secretly complained in his heart, as expected, the male dragon's mouth is deceiving. If he hadn't sneaked around and attacked the Triceratops, how would Long Dad have had the opportunity to break through the Triceratops' defensive formation? The female Tyrannosaurus Rex, who had just begun to fall in love, was obviously moved by Long Dad's sweet words and immersed herself in enjoying the flesh and blood of the female Triceratops. Just when Long Dad was feeling proud and estimated that he would soon bring the beautiful dragon home, roar. Another roar of the Tyrannosaurus Rex sounded, piercing the clouds and cracking the rocks, and spreading for thousands of miles. Chu Xu hurriedly looked in the direction of the sound, and saw a male Tyrannosaurus Rex of the same size as Long Dad appear in his perception range, approaching their location quickly. He only had one right eye left, and his left eye was wide and he had lost his vision. Judging from his age, he was a few years older than Long Dad. His scales were covered with old wounds and mottled bloodstains from long battles, and naturally exuded a breathtaking sense of oppression. Obviously, this one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex was also coming for the female Tyrannosaurus Rex. When he heard the roar, Long Dad's muscles tensed up, he lowered his front body, raised his tail high, and took a stern fighting posture. This one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex was not the first time Long Dad had seen it. The territories of the two sides were adjacent, and violent conflicts often broke out over territorial resources and food resources. And now the conflict between them may have another reason, fighting for mating rights. The one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex came to the scene, and he also brought his own trophy, an adult Edmontosaurus. After discovering Long Dad, the cold and violent right eye of the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex suddenly burst out with a fierce light, and his mouth was full of sharp teeth and exposed his lips, emitting a cold light. When the enemy dragons meet, they are particularly jealous. The battle between the two sides was about to break out, and the female Tyrannosaurus Rex, who as the initiator, was very interested in it. She deliberately gave up a piece of open space for the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex and Long Dad to duel. Only the final winner is worthy of being her spouse. Roar, roar, two thunderous roars in unison kicked off the duel. The Cyclops Tyrannosaurus Rex and Dragon Dad charged at the same time and collided with each other. In an instant, the air exploded like thunder. Horizontal ellipsis. Chapter 23 The running under the setting sun that evening is the lost youth. Please collect and recommend. It was the first time that Chu Xu had seen a fight between two adult Tyrannosaurus Rexes. He watched the collision between the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex and Long Dad without blinking. The two sides were of similar size, so the difference in strength should not be big, so the competition was about their physical strength and fighting skills and experience. In the first round of the collision, the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex and Long Dad were evenly matched, and then both opened their bloody mouths and bit each other's necks. The neck is also the most vulnerable part of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Once bitten by the other party, its life will be greatly threatened. Long Dad bit the neck of the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex first, but the latter shook his head and knocked it away. Then he pressed forward and opened his mouth to bite Long Dad's neck, but Long Dad retreated in time to avoid it. Long Dad's fighting style was quite impatient. He kept launching attacks, but the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex dodged it with rich fighting skills and experience, and then fought back. After several rounds, the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex had a firm upper hand and suppressed Long Dad. Long Dad's body was covered with wounds and blood was flowing. However, Chu Xu could already see that the older one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex had an advantage in combat skills and experience, while the young and strong Long Dad had an advantage in physical strength. It would not take long for the situation on the battlefield to reverse. He would not rashly join the battle to help Long Dad. After all, this was a battle between two adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, just like the peak duel between two martial arts masters in martial arts novels. The aftermath of their skills alone could hurt others. Sure enough, as time went by, the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex gradually became tired, and Long Dad fought more and more fiercely, and in turn beat the former to passively defend and retreat continuously. The one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex panted heavily and had to admit that he was old and weak. After looking at the female Tyrannosaurus Rex unwillingly, he turned around and ran away without even caring about the prey he had offered. Roar. Dragon Dad did not chase the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex. Although the latter was defeated, It was not an easy target for him to kill, so Dragon Dad just watched the figure of the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex and roared at him majestically. After this battle, the one-eyed Tyrannosaurus Rex probably would never dare to be arrogant in front of Dragon Dad again. In the future, when he sees Dragon Dad, he will have to tuck his tail between his legs and act like a dragon. The victorious Dragon Dad returned triumphantly and was warmly welcomed by the female Tyrannosaurus Rex. Considering that the next scene might not be suitable for a few dragons, and it was not good to peek, Chu Xu turned and left. It was getting late, and Dragon Mom would be worried if he came home late, so Chu Xu set out on the journey home. Today's experience was also very rich. First, he hunted 3 Struthiomimus with a tripwire, then he left Dragon Mom's territory and came to Dragon Dad's territory. He met Dragon Dad hunting a Triceratops and helped him to successfully hunt. Finally, he saw Dragon Dad find a new love and started a peak showdown with another adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was full of visual impact. Chu Xu walked all the way until dusk before he returned home. From a distance, he could sense Long Ma, who was looking up at the door. The afterglow of the setting sun fell on her body, casting a long shadow. A mother worries when her son is away from home. Chu Xu didn't know how long Long Ma had been looking at him from afar, waiting for him to come home. Xianyu and Liuxing were playing and fighting beside Long Ma. It was rare that their eldest brother was not at home. They didn't have to be afraid of his power. It didn't matter how noisy they were. Seeing this scene, Chu Xu couldn't help but smile knowingly. In his previous life, he always wanted to grow up quickly when he was a child, and then go out to make a name for himself. But when he became an adult and experienced a circle of social experience, he realized that home was the most comfortable harbor, and family was the strongest backing. There was a sense of happiness and belonging that only home and family could give. Now as a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Chu Xu felt the same way. The outside world was wonderful, but he had to tread on thin ice. The dangers that appeared at any time and anywhere could endanger his life. Only after returning home could Chu Xu truly relax, play and make noises with Xianyu Liuxing without worries, and fall asleep peacefully in his own nest. Roar! Chu Xu quickened his pace and ran towards home, his roar echoing through the forest. Roar! Hearing the familiar voice, Long Ma stood up and saw Chu Xu returning with a full load of prey from afar. The roar from her mouth also echoed with it, and the lingering sound lasted for a long time. Many years later, Chu Xu would often think of running under the setting sun that evening, which was his lost youth. Time passed silently like flowing water. Another 2 months passed, and the forest scenery in Long Ma's territory was also quietly changing. As the temperature rises, the rain has not fallen for a month, and the hot sun is scorching the earth, putting all things in the world in a furnace. The forests and green plants are visibly withering, and the water levels of rivers and lakes are gradually drying up. The ancient Laramidia subcontinent is about to usher in the most terrible drought season of the year. During the early Cretaceous to Middle Cretaceous period, due to the collision of the Asian plate and the North American plate, a large area of central North American land collapsed, causing seawater to pour in, forming a shallow sea continental shelf running from north to south, which was later called the Western Inland Channel. Therefore, the North American continent was divided into 2 by the seawater. The eastern part was called the Appalachian subcontinent, and the western part was called the Laramidia subcontinent. Affected by the monsoon, the climate of the Laramidia subcontinent has obvious dry and rainy seasons. During the rainy season, precipitation is concentrated, warm and humid, while during the dry season, precipitation is scarce, hot and dry. This year's dry season came particularly early, and the degree of drought is more severe. Both the overall climate and the daily weather are increasingly weird and unpredictable. In Chu Xu's opinion, this is likely a sign of something big to happen. In the last Maastrichtian period of the late Cretaceous, the big event that Chu Xu could imagine was undoubtedly the famous Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event, also known as the mass extinction of dinosaurs. This is one of the 5 large-scale species extinction events in the history of the Earth. It occurred between the Cretaceous period of the Mesozoic era and the Paleogene period of the Cenozoic era. This event fundamentally reshaped the ecological structure of the Earth and ended the dinosaur era of more than 150 million years. As for the specific cause of extinction, later paleontologists have different opinions and cannot agree on one. The most widely circulated is the asteroid impact theory. An asteroid with a diameter of about 10 kilometers collided with the Earth, causing a violent explosion and throwing a lot of dust into the atmosphere, causing the sun to be blocked for a long time, the earth to be dark and cold, plants to wither, the food chain to be interrupted, and most creatures including dinosaurs to become extinct. However, the asteroid impact was only the last straw that broke the camel's back for the dinosaurs. Prior to this, the climate and environment in the late Cretaceous had already shown various problems, and various species had shown signs of shrinking and dying out. Chu Xu had also vaguely sensed that the era and world he lived in were about to usher in a real vicissitude. Chapter 24 Intermediate Skills. Styx Dragon. Please add this to your collection and recommend. It was a new day, the sun was shining brightly, the weather was hot and humid, there was no wind, and the thick air seemed to be frozen. After completing the daily skill proficiency training in the morning, Chu Xu continued to dissipate heat through the specialized postnasal sinuses of theropod dinosaurs to regulate body temperature, and constantly exhaled hot air from his nose. This damn weather. Chu Xu complained secretly, really missing the days of air conditioning, refrigerators, and fat house water in the future. As a dinosaur without sweat glands, it can't even sweat, and can only regulate its body temperature by itself, otherwise it will easily get heat stroke if the body temperature is too high. At this time, a new piece of information appeared in front of Chu Xu. Random scratching, 1000, 1000, proficiency is full, automatically upgraded to Flame Claw. Flame Claw, 0/5000, intermediate skill, use claws burning with fire to attack the opponent, causing tearing and burning damage. Crushing, 1000/1000, proficiency is full, automatically upgraded to Flame Fang. Flame Fang, 0/5000, intermediate skill, use teeth burning with flames to attack the opponent, causing bite and burning damage. Slam, 1000, 1000, proficiency is full, automatically upgraded to Flash Flame Charge. Flash Flame Charge, 0/5000, intermediate skill, surround yourself with flames and charge at the opponent, causing collision and burning damage. Speed up, 1000, 1000, proficiency is full, automatically upgraded to High Speed Movement. High Speed Movement, 0/5000, intermediate skill, use continuous high-speed stomping on the ground to generate explosive reaction force to move at high speed, which can temporarily increase your speed by twice. Finally, these 4 primary skills have been upgraded to intermediate skills. Chu Xu nodded with satisfaction. After more than half a year of unremitting proficiency training, he finally accumulated to the maximum value. A notable feature of these intermediate skills is that they combine the burning damage of flames on the basis of primary skills. Flame Claws, Flame Fangs, and Flash Charge all attach flames to oneself and then attack the enemy. The damage is undoubtedly several times higher than that of a single primary skill. The last high-speed movement can temporarily increase one's speed by twice, which is equivalent to bursting out at 3 times the original speed. Check my attribute panel. Name, Chu Xu, age, 8 months, race, Agumon, male, growth stage, juvenile, 4-dimensional attributes, strength 300, agility 300, constitution 320, spirit 310, evolution points 30, skills, Flame Claws, Flame Fangs, Flash Charge, High Speed Movement, Special Moves, Small Flame, Achievements, Overlord's Talent, Primary, Telepathic Perception, Primary, Fluid Armament, Primary, Next Evolution Form, Tyrannosaurus. In 2 months, Chu Xu's 4-dimensional attributes have doubled compared to when he just evolved, breaking through the 300 mark. The changes in body size are also very obvious. The body length is close to 3 meters, the head height reaches 1.5 meters, and the weight has exceeded half a ton. I am afraid that in another half year, no more than a year, Chu Xu's wild and savage growth will be enough to reach the upper limit of adolescence and usher in the second evolution. I'm hungry, it's time to go out hunting. Daily skill proficiency training is a basic warm-up for Chu Xu, and after warm-up, it's time to move around. Because the family's reserve food has been eaten up, Long Ma has taken Xianyu and Liuxing out hunting. Since Chu Xu started hunting independently, Long Ma has been completely free range for him, and generally will not ask him to follow her. Chu Xu is also happy to be free. He can choose his own prey, hunt independently, and show his skills. After leaving home, Chu Xu followed the river whose water level had dropped by more than half, looking for prey all the way downstream. There were almost no fish in the river, and Chu Xu was also a good cook who could not cook without rice. However, the water source of the river still attracted many herbivorous dinosaurs that were thirsty due to the hot weather to drink water to quench their thirst. Not long after, Chu Xu's telepathic perception captured a group of Styxosaurs drinking water collectively on the river bank. Styxosaurs are not much related to the Styx raptor that Chu Xu encountered before. It is a medium-sized herbivorous dinosaur of the genus Styxosaur in the family Pachycephalosauridae, with a body length of between 2.5 and 3 meters, a height of nearly 1 meter, and a weight of about 200 kilograms. Styxosaur means demon from the Styx, and the name comes from the scene when its fossils were discovered, which is as terrifying as taking out the remains of a hellish demon. The appearance of Styxosaurs is also very prominent and weird. It looks like a sheep but not a sheep, and like a deer but not a deer. Its head is the size of a basketball, and its head has a hard and protruding round parietal bone, as if it is wearing a helmet. And unlike other Pachycephalosaurs, the Styxosaurus has high protruding bone spikes around its round top bone. Although not as huge as the giant horns of the Triceratops, it also exudes a chilling sharpness. It's decided to be you. Chu Xu's eyes lit up. It was the first time he saw a strange-looking dinosaur like the Styxosaurus. He decided to try it without thinking. Chu Xu quietly approached the location of the Styxosaurus group while observing their every move. Bang! Bang! Suddenly, Chu Xu saw two sturdy male Styxosaurus who seemed to dislike each other and lowered their heads to face each other. Their hard and thick skulls collided violently, and a crisp sound spread in the air. If there is no winner in one time, then 2, 3 times. The two male Styxosaurus kept retreating and charging, colliding with each other violently with their iron-head skills, and the momentum was more intense each time. If it were any other dinosaur, they would have had a concussion long ago. But for Pachycephalosaurs such as the Styx, this level of head impact is commonplace. Not only are their skulls very hard, but they also have 3 distinct structures that can transmit the impact and concussion of head impact to the whole body through nerves, thereby reducing damage to the head. However, Chu Xu, who saw this scene, still felt a headache for some reason. Beside the two male Styx, there was a smaller female Styx. She seemed to be shouting anxiously, as if persuading them not to fight anymore. Little did they know that the two male Styx were fighting for her. Now that Milong was by their side, they worked harder and refused to show weakness. They had to defeat each other completely before they would stop. Finally, after a series of desperate battles, one of the male Styx won and knocked his opponent to the ground, unable to get up for a while. The victorious male Styx dragon came to the female Styx dragon with a proud and heroic manner. The female Styx dragon could not help but be conquered by his heroic appearance and began to rub her ears with him intimately. Shoo! However, in the next second, the originally complacent male Styx dragon's eyes flashed, and he saw a half-grown Tyrannosaurus Rex suddenly appeared behind the female Styx dragon. The speed was so fast that he had no time to react, and the female Styx dragon was suddenly thrown to the ground. Chapter 25, Desperate Couple. The Beating of Society. Please collect and recommend. It was Chu Xu who suddenly appeared and threw the female Styx dragon to the ground. As soon as he approached the group of Styx dragons, Chu Xu activated the intermediate skill he had just mastered, high-speed movement. In a flash, Chu Xu's strong and powerful hind legs trampled on the ground several times in a row. The explosive reaction force generated by this made his huge dragon body shoot out directly. Just like the catapult start of a racing car, the best acceleration can be achieved at the moment of starting, and the maximum speed can be reached in the shortest time. Now Chu Xu's agility value has just reached 300, which makes his speed even higher than before, up to 70 kilometers per hour. With a blessing of high-speed movement, the maximum speed has tripled, enough to reach 210 kilometers per hour, and it can run 58 meters in 1 second, which is nearly twice as fast as the cheetah, the champion of land running in later generations. The surrounding Styx dragons only felt a gust of wind whistling past, and then they saw this half-grown Tyrannosaurus Rex seem to appear out of thin air and took down the female Styx dragon in an instant. Crack! In Chu Xu's bloody mouth, the fangs heated up rapidly, ignited a blazing flame, and then bit the female Styx dragon's neck fiercely. Flame fangs! Squeak, squeak. As soon as Chu Xu's flame fangs touched the skin of the female Styx dragon's neck, white smoke came out and melted it directly. The piercing burning pain made her wail hysterically. And with the explosive bite force of Chu Xu's upper and lower jaws, The flame fangs penetrated further into the female Styx dragon's muscles and even bones, causing tearing while constantly burning and roasting the surrounding tissues, turning them charred. Even the arteries were severely burned, and blood could not stop spurting. The severe pain made the female Styx dragon fainted. After fainting, the female Styx dragon probably had no chance to wake up again. With a large amount of blood flowing away and the deep burns on her neck, her death was only a matter of time. It was a pity that the male Styx dragon, who had just brought back a beautiful dragon, had no time to take the first blood of the female Styx dragon before Chu Xu, who showed up halfway, took it away first, making his bald head inexplicably green and shiny. When the other Styx dragons saw Chu Xu hunting the female Styx dragon, they were so scared that their souls left their bodies and hurriedly fled. But only the male Styx dragon let out an unstoppable roar after reacting. He lowered his front body so that his head and tail formed a straight line, and then rushed towards Chu Xu with a fearless attitude, determined to avenge his beloved female Styx dragon. Come on. Seeing this, Chu Xu temporarily let go of the female Styx dragon's neck and lowered his head as well. The liquid weapon instantly blessed his head, strengthening his defense. He took a big step and violently collided with the aggressive male Styx dragon. There was a dull bang. How could the male Styx dragon, with a body of only about 200 jin, be a match for Chu Xu? Not only was it knocked away by its huge force, but the bone spikes growing around its skull were broken one by one, and even its proud thick skull felt a sharp pain and dizziness. Chu Xu, on the other hand, was unscathed. The liquid weapon strengthened the defense of the top of its head, and its hardness and thickness were even stronger than the top of the Styx dragon's skull. Roar! Without waiting for the male Styx dragon to get up again, Chu Xu took a step forward and appeared in front of it almost instantly. Swish! The next second, a layer of blazing flames attached to the blades of Chu Xu's front claws, causing its temperature to rise sharply, as if it were a red-hot iron, turning extremely red, and fiercely slashed across the neck of the male Styx dragon. Flame claws. The rough neck skin and flesh were easily torn apart like thin paper, and the bones were visible. At the same time, the flames also penetrated into the male Styx dragon's body like a thorn in the flesh, burning his internal organs from the inside, causing him to wail in great pain and despair, and he could not hold on for long before he became silent. Two desperate Styx dragons, easily defeated. Chu Xu had to admit that it was powerful and cruel when testing the power of the intermediate skills for the first time. The use of fire is a dimensionality reduction attack for ordinary animals. Even dinosaurs, no matter how huge their bodies are or how fierce their temperaments are, will have an instinctive fear of fire. Ling. You hunted a Styx dragon, evolution points plus 20. Ling. You hunted a Styx dragon, evolution points plus 20. Next, Chu Xu enjoyed his spoils as usual. As his body continued to grow and develop, his appetite was increasing day by day, becoming more and more exaggerated. According to his observation, an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, such as the mother of the dragon, needs to eat at least 300 kilograms of meat or even more a day, and can even eat thousands of kilograms of meat at most, and can go for several days without eating. Although Chu Xu's size is still far smaller than that of an adult Tyrannosaurus Rex, his appetite is already quite large. He needs to eat about 100 kilograms of meat in one meal to feel full, and this is almost one meal a day. The main reason is that Chu Xu consumes too much energy. The use of skills on weekdays will undoubtedly greatly increase the activity metabolic rate and consume a lot of energy in the body, so he gets hungry quickly and eats a lot. The meat yield of general herbivorous dinosaurs is also about 40–50%, so now Chu Xu needs to hunt a prey of about 200 kilograms every day to fill his stomach. Soon, Chu Xu ate a whole female Styx dragon like a whirlwind, leaving only bone residue on the ground. The remaining male Styx dragon was buried in a pit as usual, and then marked its own scent around it. The unique smell certification of Tyrannosaurus Rex is enough to keep most animals away. After finishing, Chu Xu continued to move forward along the river as a post-meal walk. Coincidentally, before walking far, Chu Xu found the figures of Long Ma and Crescent Moon Liu Xing. They were lying in ambush in the bushes by the river bank, waiting for their prey to take the bait. Chu Xu did not disturb them and was about to take a detour to leave, but he saw Liu Xing, who was already a little impatient, sneaking out while Long Ma was not paying attention. This guy, does he want to be lazy again? In the past, every time Long Ma taught the three little Tyrannosaurus Rex to learn hunting skills, Liu Xing always liked to be lazy and truant. When Chu Xu was around, He would discipline him by the way, but now that Chu Xu is gone, Liu Xing is free, isn't he? Liu Xing looked around all the way, and was very curious about everything new. As the saying goes, curiosity kills the cat, and this curiosity is very dangerous for the young Tyrannosaurus Rex who has no self-protection ability. Chu Xu still followed Liu Xing secretly. He did not come forward to stop Liu Xing directly, because this guy always has a short memory. Even if he was stopped by Chu Xu today, he would still be the same tomorrow. So Chu Xu still wanted Liu Xing to have a taste of society's cruelty. Only by learning a real lesson could he learn from his mistakes. At this time, Liu Xing accidentally entered a dense bush of horsetail, and found a deep earthen nest in it. In the earthen nest, oval dinosaur eggs were neatly arranged in a semi-arc shape, with a total of 3 circles inside and outside. It was estimated that there were more than 30 eggs. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.